Hello, welcome back to Arc Knights. Chapter 14, Absolved will be the Seekers. Last time, we finally got the truth as to how Therasis was able to revive his sister and force her to participate in his unholy war. But we still have a lot of questions left, as well as how are we going to stop him? And of course, as per usual, I'm doing this on adverse environment to push myself further beyond. And I did check, yeah, hidden front, secret place, these are all, those are all permanent. They're not just limited with the event. The only limited thing is the shop and such, so. Do not lose heart and countermeasures. Oh. Yeah, I was doing some module quests earlier, so, good news is I've got a decent amount of those, but as you can see, I'm bringing the full Shu Exodia setup. Adverse environment is not holding back, and therefore neither will I. You are not to ask why I'm bringing one of the worst 6 stars in the game. Although... actually, it might be worth my time to replace with the Ray here.
Here, Sand Beast. We need to get going.
Yeah, when it comes to stats, there's a handful of stat stick enemies in this game, and Ray specializes in piercing stat sticks. It's probably the only thing she has over Wistadel, but even it's extremely niche and rare, but it's better than what other poor archers have. Whis really is insane. I did an IS run grabbing a friend's, and holy crap, she practically soloed it. People really weren't kidding about how insane she is. But I've got all my willpower, and I shall be skipping her banner, so we shall simply make do. Alright, 58 hours of the operation. After all, we have a much more important limited one coming up. Shut up, of course she's more important. Sarkaz swearing. How are we supposed to fight these guys when our equipment doesn't even come close to theirs? The Royal Court's attacks, troops attack, W makes explosive entry. Manfred sneaks. Evacuate now! Lifebone signal strong. We have a good fix on its location. Forward, casters advance. I miss Shovel. He had no unique portrait, but I still remember the guy. Ah. Look out, enemies! In formation, watch for an ambush. Infantry, form a line. Casters, provide cover. You guys are against Inez. To this day, she's one of the most overpowered 6 stars. You have no chance. Royal Court elites under Manfred's direct command. And a lot of them. No heavy firepower, though, so I can at least slow them down. Hoderer was right. Solid knows our defenses are weak, and she'll tell Manfred that. We can use this to our advantage. The military commission won't allow the lifebone to fall into enemy hands. Manfred will destroy it if he has no other choice. Draw them in and avoid a direct confrontation. Manfred will be cautious about the use of heavy weapons as long as he thinks there's a chance he could retake the skeleton intact. That will give us a chance to buy time. Right, unless we have reason to think their orders are just to destroy it instantly, we should still have time to fix the problem. I said better work, Hoderer. What's this bothersome shadow? Azure Arts. It's Nadine. Mercenaries are just mercenaries. Maybe you could hold your own in a one-on-one fight or a small-scale confrontation. But where did you find the nerve to fight a real war? I've always been curious. What made mercenaries like you choose to become enemies of the military commission? The shadow blends in the vast darkness, and yet not enough to escape the decay that closely follows. We have intel of a merc who can manipulate shadows. Are you... Inez? An outsider dressing up as Sarkaz, participating in the War of Sarkaz. What are you, a Sarkaz fangirl? I become less interested when the Sarkaz talk too much. Yeah, it looks like Inez has to fight the zombie princess, and that's gonna be a problem. Shadows erupt from beneath the Nagier, morphing into shape Sharp blades that streak towards her chest, only through layers of tattered cloth. The Najir's ribbons are wrapped tightly around the shadow blades until they shatter or disintegrate. Then Najir's knife presses against Ina's throat. Nice party trick. It's not enough to take down a real soldier, however. Amateur. Consider yourself lucky I don't approve of the Sanguinarch's methods. A new era for sarcasm is dawning. Mercenaries like you who strayed from the path should get a second chance. Are you the leader of this rabble? I'm Lieutenant General Nadine, General Manfred's deputy, and I offer you the chance to surrender. I suggest you take it. Ha! You don't look scared? Scared of what? A wet behind the ear rookie who's in a real battlefield for the first time. What did you say? I know your type. You got into the Military Commission's Academy because of your royal court bloodline. Studied a few theories, got promoted to staff officer as soon as you graduated. Sorry to say, but real war's a wee bit harder than those exams you passed. You'll pay the price for your futile taunting. Oh, it's not futile if it distracts you. Who's the amateur now? Lieutenant General. Damn, this thing packs a punch. That heap of dead wood wasn't lying. How'd you know I was coming? I could smell the explosives from a mile away. Oh yeah, I guess we're starting to build chemistry. I'd rather not have my brain cells mixed with your bomb-blasted ones, thank you very much. Enough small talk. Have at you. I mean, how many did the military commission send? I'll blow them all on the way back to Casdell. Ah, so this explains how she got powered up. She took the tech there. Where'd you go? What's with the outfit change? I'm a new limited 6-star this time. But you were a limited 6-star to begin with. Shut up! My old garb was a little frayed, so I had to improvise. You'd never believe what I ran into out there. Cough, cough. You're tough for a heap of dead wood. If I can't blow you up, I can at least blast all this stuff. These weapons and armor are relics of great Sarkis heroes. Your weapons will not harm them. So you're saying these things are blast-proof? Alright then, don't mind if I do. Better for them to get some sunshine with me than rot in here. Young mercenary, you should respect the Sarkaz heroes. What's going on? Where's Manfred? I could use a target to try out my new gear. Don't be hasty. You'll ruin our plan if you make too much of a scene. Why, does Hodor have some trick up his sleeve again? You have squandered your only chance to live. You refused to join the military commission. Now you will fuel this war. I hear the sound of fighting. Things are going smoothly, sir. We haven't run into much resistance. The mercenaries are no match for us, but it will be difficult to stop them from destroying Lifebone out of desperation. No, they won't do it. This book has no ending. It's just a manuscript from an unknown writer, hardly worthy of your attention, General. I remember you, veteran. You like reading, not just any book, but the kind that promotes a sort of pessimism towards war. No need to justify your reading interests. Be honest with me, mercenary. What ending would you write if you were the author? Hero returns home. No glorious death in battle. A warrior should think of more than his home in battle. Whose home should he think of then? Your empathy is admirable. Pardon my impudence. Sentimentality is a necessary trait in an author, but indecision's a worse trait in a soldier. I understand. Your compassion is the reason I've kept you alive for so long, but you should have gone back to Casdell, become a teacher, farmer, giving up your ludicrous mercenary career. Lifebone was meant to be a way home for all warriors. Remain vigilant. A beast is most dangerous when cornered. Keep the pressure. Give them no quarter. I give the order of no quarter. Sir, look out. Wait, what? No one sees the smoke coagulate into a blade as subtly as the mist condenses to dew. The soldier beside Manfred throws himself above his commander. The blade impales him, delaying it for an instant. Enough for Manfred to draw a sword. You won't. Ascalon. It all happens in the blink of an eye. The arts coagulate by Manfred's side just as he swings his sword upwards, but Ascalon's blade is faster. This time there is no doubt, no hesitation. A blow long due. The assassin and general cross blades, severing life and death, and all of their past ties. General! The sword impales Ascalon's shoulder, but the slave blade pierces Manfred's heart. Ah, you've lived up to your words, as I said I would. If you had made up your mind, I would have died at your hand a long time ago. I still have regrets about not killing you the night you left Casdell. Farewell. What a shame. I thought you would at least shed a tear. You would have recognized us under any other circumstance. Quick and direct, weren't you? Did you care a little too much about him or too little? Everything went exactly as Manfred expected. You still don't know Manfred well enough for all the years that you've been rivals, but he knows you all too well. We've engaged the royal court on both the northern and southern sides, and we're pulling back the lines as planned. Everything's gone according to plan so far? Good. Any sign of Manfred? Not yet. He wouldn't be content to just sit back and bark orders at a time like this. I hope things go smoothly for Ascalon. No, she won't be coming back. What'd you say? Huh? I knew you would be here. Manfred, delay tactics. Do you really think protecting the skeleton would help you turn the tables? Why? I gave you a chance. I gave you far too many chances. You knew the smart thing to do. Once again, you're having slaughter sarcasm. Haven't you had enough of wars like this? You disappoint me. Their death is not on me, but your naivete. You should have left long ago. Isn't this what you would long for? Now your mercenaries will all die here, as will my soldiers, for something so meaningless. Have you not learned the lessons of the Civil War? That's why the sarcasm shouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past. Haven't we all seen what Civil War became? We lost an entire generation to Civil War, and you're trying to kill even more. Nothing's gonna come about this war. It's a war against all of Terra. Something will come of it. Something must. You have seen it already. You just refuse to acknowledge it. To hate and be hated. If that's a military commission's goal, then mission accomplished. Don't you understand? That's the reason I needed to get you out of this. Yes, the Civil War caused an entire generation, and made you and I out of the survivors, murderers who go and live by the sword. Why have you stayed? Hate if you wanted to change all of this. There was so much more you could have done, and should have done. So what if I return to Casdell? What happens next? How do I describe the children of the fields where their fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters are buried? How do I make them believe in another future? Hatred's a means of unity, but you cannot let that unity become a spark for a new hatred. I can't leave, not while this war continues. So you're choosing to live and die with the war. In that case, I'll give you the answer. Ugh. Orderer, you coward. You lack even the courage to keep living. This is what makes you so contemptible. This is what disappoints me so deeply. I guess a mecha cord would stack up damage against a crusher rather quickly. Oh, will we fight Manfred again? Seems like it's building up for it. Oh, but please don't have us fight Damsey Cluster again. That was such a pain in the ass. Profane Chimera. Continue produces pollution around itself unaffected.
I finished construction of the refinement system. Deployment point confirmed. Stop! Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
Yeah, you'll hear from me as needed.
It is but a flash in the drift of time.
Shoe time.
A word I've not heard in a long, long time.
Aid of the wind. We two can soar through the skies.
Point where I'm cleaning up. Got my book, and that's as far as you go.
Alright, whatever this big guy is, he needs to die, and he needs to die yesterday.
Stop! Landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step.
Alright, yeah, they've been powered up.
Point where I'm cleaning up. I'm hearing movement.
Right, the storm does true damage, flat damage.
Got my book, I'm hearing movement.
Alright, tactical capybara complete.
Tell me what you... The landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step.
Would any of you like to be my paint? It's not my wish to take lives. Got my bow thread at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
Yeah, because these guys are so staggered, Ray has a pretty good shot of taking him out.
As far as you go.
Which is good, because I'm pretty sure they'd be an absolute pain in the ass if she wasn't nuking them. Lucky me. That's an auto-friendly one, too, if I need it. Ducal Alliance Siege finds the others ill-prepared. The 7th batch of new comm stations has been set up. 1/3 of all the comm lines have been restored. Data from makeshift catastrophe monitoring stations indicate stabilizing atmospheric originium concentration, but raising underground originium activity. 2 more teams of engineers have arrived at their destination. Continue to eliminate obstacles standing in the way of the main fleet. 4 battleships from the Duke of Gododin, and including the Felicius, will arrive at the rendezvous point in 15 minutes to join the escort after supply. Joint Command confirms Wellington's reinforcements. Hear those announcements? The Ducal Alliance's forward base is just ahead. Smooth sailing so far. We Rhodes Island our thanks for plotting our route, and it's not just us who are indebted to them. Should we drive our tanks straight in? Small encounters are one thing, but this is the main camp of the Ducal Alliance. Will the Exemplar's ID code really work? Of course. Please leave travels like these to me and proceed ahead. Your interest is always so sudden, Mr. Ash. It looks like you've been keeping an eye on our little procession in the middle of everything else you had to do. There's a group of soldiers up ahead Vina, plus a few trucks, ammo, gear, food. Should we just accept it? Could be a trap this barracks laid for us. Yeah, we'll have to take it. Ideals alone are not going to win battles, I'm afraid. Thank you again, Mr. Billingham. Sincerely, this time. You've helped us more than once. Please don't call me that. I'm perfectly content being the strange man in the hat. It's for the better you suspect ulterior motives behind my every move. These gifts aren't just for Gibsonham. It's also for everything that the Rhodes Island's done. We've sent people direct civilians to safe zones. Gifts. Didn't think you engaged in such courtesies. Better than not doing anything, isn't it? You know how Victoria works. The towns around Londinium are not part of Duke Castor's jurisdiction. Considering the circumstances, however, Her Grace has forced to take certain actions that might be controversial in the future in order to provide safe shelters for as many as possible. Enough. I'm not interested in how Duke Castor intends to win people over. Tell me where the Stone of the Sword is and what's happening in the front lines. No need to rush, Your Royal Highness. The history of the Stone of the Sword is long and complex. Ideally, I would require several dozen photographs, abundance of literature, and have you cleared for the highest access before I could properly recount these stories. In any case, I'd take you to the front personally. If I were you, I would tell the troops to get some rest at camp while they still can. You'll learn more about the situation at the camp. Seeing's worth 1,000 words, is it not? I guess we'll be getting to go to it directly. All that saved us time. Here, I'll help. Heave ho. That's the last crate. Thank you. We're running short on ammo. Oh, the logistics team says they'll whip up a bonny meal from the supplies they brought before we head out. Care to join us for a bite? Thanks for the offer, but we got Sarkaz to come to kill. We just received orders from command to join up the assault on Silver Rock once we've transferred the supplies. Those monsters, the Nazirers. I can't wait to put them down. Look at this. The newest crossbows, AP ammo, and precision arts units. This stuff would be rare even in the elite units in ordinary times. And what about Originium protection? Fighting Sarkaz isn't just about firepower. No worries, we've been issued a full set of PPE plus medication. Take a look. Oh, what the? Breaks over, Private Brown. Get ready to move. Have you oiled our crossbow? I'll oil it with the blood of Sarkaz. Hope their blood doesn't stink too much. Good man. Now back up your squad. So, those are all red shirts who are going to die horribly, I imagine. Are you the commander of this unit? My name is Shearer. I serve as medical officer on Duke Windmere's flagship. Your soldiers claim they've been issued Originium PPE, but what are you trying to say, Lieutenant? As far as I know, the Duke of Windermere's troops have withdrawn. It's not your place to question me. Go back to whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. You know full well, don't you? This type of equipment offers protection against mild industrial pollution at best, and you're issuing them to soldiers. Soldiers who are about to walk into a highly active originium plume to face a catastrophe and infected Sarkas head on. They're going to get infected and die on the front lines from the acute symptoms. On what authority you speak to me? I was the lieutenant of the so-called exemplars. I'm questioning you as a citizen of Victoria with a medical education, Major. Victorian citizen, You should know not even Victoria could produce specialized origin and PPE for 100,000 soldiers on such short notice. You should at least tell them the truth. By observing proper procedures and highly active, the infection rates could be reduced as much as... Spare me the lecture. We came to fight and die, but we will take the sarcasm with us until victory belongs to Victoria. Infected or apathy, there will be no confirmed cases in the Victorian army before the end of the war. This is absurd. Here, me, my commanding officer, and his commanding officer will all be wearing the same protective equipment. We'll charge with our men. Nay, we'll be leading the charge. Now, let go of me. If you want to make a difference, Exemplar, go to the front lines. Lieutenant Shearer. Well, you heard him. Thanks to the advance warning of our Rhodes Islands friends, Exemplars have sufficient protective gear. We even have some spare. Don't even think about it. What little we can provide is a drop in the ocean for the tens of thousands we're going to actually need. All we can do is take care of ourselves. We have our own duty. Yeah, as nice as it'd be to keep everyone safe, we just don't have the supplies for it. So we have to prioritize what we can do to bring an end to all this as quickly as we can. It can't be. Captain, it's him. Yo, shit, why are you loading your weapon, Captain? What are you doing? Wait for me! What'd you say? Someone I thought to be long dead. Adjutant Hill. Lieutenant? What happened to my men? They're here, rest assured they're only unconscious. I don't mean Cello's group, you know who I mean. Don't push me, or it won't be my shield against your chin. Cough, cough. If you draw your sword, you'll be assaulting an ally. An quote-unquote ally. At what point since the moment have we have entered a County Hillock have you ever treated us as an ally? Answer me. Wait, is it truly... Lost him. Hill, adjutant to Colonel Hamilton. I thought he had died in the fires of Dublin with the Colonel. Oh, I thought maybe the Colonel survived, but no, it's just the guy without a portrait. Still, if he's alive, that's rather unusual, because Dublin was, let's just say, extremely thorough with their purging of that city. Not just him, I saw many familiar faces on the Wellington tanks. They could change their clothes, but I could never forget their faces. Oh, County, look. I remember my men, Bagpipe, and how each and every one of them died. Hello, Ellie. Stop that. Bite those, and I swear I'll start biting back. Hopefully. Yeah. What, hoping to kiss a boy there? Cello and oboe died at the hands of Dublin. Triangle, snare, bass, and mandolin died too. How shall we say? Friendly fire. Moments before dying, Triangle asked, who is our enemy? Then. I don't know, Breakson's are pretty tasty. Moments before dying, Triangle, who's our enemy? There isn't a night where I don't think about that exact question. Just who is our enemy, Bagpipe? Well, it's Dublin, obviously. Dublin. Certainly, we could hate the Terrans. You once told me you encountered the former leader of Dublin and let her go. I met our enemy as well, the Dublin commander who killed Cello. I buried her by the walls of London by my own No, that means Mandragora's dead. But wait. Okay, I can respect they wanted Mandragora to die, but if that's the case, why did they leave it so ambiguous back? Because remember, this was chapter what, 10 when that happened? Yeah, she was defeated in she was the boss of chapter 9 and was last seen in chapter 10 with Misery, where it was implied that Misery saved her, but that's weird. Why would they leave her status of alive or dead up in the air only to confirm it off screen here, basically? Well, that's mildly frustrating. I couldn't stop myself from hating her, but I know she's far from the only one responsible for this tragedy. Why did our comrades, the most loyal soldiers of Victoria, die at County Hillock while the Hill and more traitors live? Oh, Captain, I know what I'm doing. If we fire at the Duke's tents now, we risk bringing down the Alliance, even the dreams of the Exemplars. That's the saddest thing, isn't it? We can't even take revenge, because they put on their bloody Victorian uniforms and once again are our, for lack of a better term, allies. Right. I get where Horn's coming from here. They're only fair weather allies, only friendly when it's convenient to them, and drop at the moment it's not. Oh, Captain, permission to speak freely. Granted. I don't trust him at all. What would the men who killed our friends, the one who fired innocent civilians, really stand with us when we charged against the Sarkaz? Even we cannot set aside our hatred and trust our lives to our former enemies without reservation. Who'd they? There you are. Vina and I inspected the forward base. The troops are disciplined and morale is high. The Dukes are taking this very seriously. They seem to have reached a united front, allowing their troops to be organized according to function rather than faction. At least, that's what it looks like on the surface. We saw Castor's elites standing guard near the Wellington tents, and at least 2 or 3 groups of Castor's men stationed further away. A faked unity is a unity nonetheless, I suppose. At least in times of crisis, the Dukes know who the true enemy is. Yeah, but they're only fair weather friends as long as it's going to be convenient. The moment something comes up that can give one of them an edge, they're going to take it at the cost of all others, even though it's going to cost everyone else as well. And I know, the obvious is the prisoner's dilemma. Ideally, it's best if everyone works together, but the problem is that opens yourself up to the worst case scenario. Meanwhile, if you betray the others, it's going to suck. Okay, but you can't get the best case scenario, but you at least, for yourself, cut off the worst case scenario option. It just can't happen. One more piece of bad news. I checked out the field hospital. It's sparking clean. There isn't a single wounded. They're abandoning the wounded? That's impossible. Morale would collapse. Or maybe there are no wounded. That's also impossible. We saw how fierce the battle is on our way here. Things could only be worse at Silver Rock. Wait, you don't mean... None of the wounded made it back. We need to put an end to this tragedy as soon as we can. The Exemplar strength might be insignificant compared to the all-consuming war, but creating miracles, that's what we do. That's what we have to do. Uninspiring pep talk. Repairs on your tanks are complete, by the way. Oh, there you are at last. Wait, why's the ground red? Is that your blood or... Oh, that's not important. My orders are to ensure the Scion Kings find this pedestal. Should I fail, another will put on the hat and continue the work. I bring a message from Duke of Castor, Your Royal Highness. Castor forever honors her commitments. Enough pleasantries. Where is this pedestal, the stone and the sword? You've seen in the camp. You have an idea of what the front's like. This is hardly the best time to tell you the truth, but we have no choice. The pedestal is on the glorious flagship of the Duke of Castor. What? You planned this all along. You guided our path, gave us a place to rest so you could lead us to your home field. What's next? Will they turn their weapons on us if we say no? Oh, please, don't need to get excited. Facts are facts, no matter how you choose to interpret them. My orders were always to bring the realm blade of the stone of the sword, with or without the exemplars. Please consider an act of good faith I'm telling the truth now, rather than simply taking the sword during your darkest hour. Continue. Like I said, the history around the sword and pedestal is a complex one that ought to only be known by a few select royals and nobles. In the distant past, before the Shah of past and future, an explorer discovered an artifact deep in the sands south of Sargon. It was by no means a sword, but was able to repress the spread of originium crystals within a certain area. The treasure allowed the explorer to survive a catastrophe that should have engulfed the entire realm. The legend of Catastrophe Cleaver. The Cleaver survivors forged a sword out of the artifact and presented it to the Shahanshah of the time as a symbol of valor. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm only pronouncing Shahanshah because that's the name of a sniper weapon in Team Fortress 2, and that's how that one's pronounced there. If it's wrong, blame the sniper from Team Fortress 2. In the year 737, the Aslan Padishah, he brought the Five Kings of Victoria. Decades later, his grandson became Victoria's first Lord of the Lions. I noticed that there seems to be a bit of debate whether the Aslan are actually a unique species in and of themselves or just a glorified offshoot of the feline race, because the feline race encompasses all cat adjacent races, including big ones like tigers and such. So it seems a bit odd that lions of all ones get taken out. It could entirely be a PR thing, because, well, as it mentions here, The sword has severed the head of a red dragon, witnessed the reconciliation between the Aslan and Draco, and became the symbol of Victoria's royal authority. Yeah, the fact that they and the dragon race are such a big deal might really just be a PR thing. It has been damaged and reforged several times, and many have tried to uncover the secret behind its ability to fend off catastrophe. Scholars have yet to understand the principles behind the sword's power, but they did discover how to make the most of it. The pedestal, dubbed Stone of the Sword, at the Mausoleum of Kings, is the result of research by House Castor. The Duke of Castor at the time kept a backup. After the original pedestal in the Mausoleum of Kings was destroyed in that battle, the only working replica is kept on the Glorious. For a century, Castor has coveted the Realm Blade. The chance has finally arrived. Countless soldiers and civilians will die in the war, but Castor gets to reap the fruit of victory and become the hero who saves Victoria. Judge it as you will, but this is what little chance, if not only chance, of victory Victoria has in the present crisis. Our trump card is this dangerous game. Sugarcoat it all you want, but you can't convince us that this despicable scheming never happened. The choice is yours, your Royal Highness. Enough. I refuse to engage in arguments over power where we denounce the dukes for being calculative. There's no Princess Alexandrina, only siege, loyal of the exemplars. There is no symbol of royal authority. The Side of Kings is just a weapon, one that will win the war for Victoria. We go to war. Well, thank you. On behalf of Victoria, the spy takes a step back and bows. I'll lead the way. However, you should prepare yourselves. East Vanguard reports retaking 3 villages by Duskglow River. Sarkaz forces continue to staunchly defend Silver Rock. All resistance on the southern front of the Red Mane Mountains has neutralized. However, command expressly forbids crossing the mountains to flank the Sarkaz. All gunboats and dreadnoughts are in position. Support gunboats have also arrived at their destination. The ground continues to tremble. The weary travelers can no longer distinguish quakes from bombardments of the cluster of originium erupting from the earth. The earth is scarred by deep, crisscrossing battleship tread marks. The stench of blood and sludge hangs heavy in the air. The exemplars' tanks lumber through the rugged terrain. Well, we're almost in the hot zone. How far until the Duke Castor's flagship? A moment, please. I'm searching for the signal. Keep heading north, and we'll soon. Witchcraft guns. The lead tank's been destroyed. We've taken damage too. We can't move. Is it the engine or the wheel? Possibly both. Fix it ASAP. We can't stay here. We need to deliver the Realm Blade to the Stone of the Sword. Wait, what's that mountain? I don't call any mountain like that outside Londinium. That's no mountain. That's a space station. I mean, Originium. Yeah, something important we learned in Babel that we needed to know in order to understand the Sarkaz attack here. Originium spread so easily because it was specifically designed to assimilate everything. Effectively terraform the land and effectively give birth to everything again later. So basically, the Sarkaz military commission are using its ability to assimilate in order to make it a weapon. The churning tides of Originium have coalesced into a colossal mass, blotting out the sun, transforming the very landscape. In shadow, even battleships appear as specks. Above the mountain of Originium, a withered throne ominously hovers. The Nazir King gazes upon the battlefield. All seeds sprout at the same time, withered branches creeping towards every death-shrouded corner. Go, my bravest warriors. Gnaw upon the greatest bone, tear iron and steel apart as you would skin and flesh, rip, tear, consume. I've seen some interpret these as reapers rather than zombies like I did. But as you can see, well, at the end of the day, they're bad news. We shall teach the Victorians the masters of war. Master of war shall master war. Yeah, these guys are... I didn't realize these guys were floating until I fought one. That was interesting.
Deeds are now in the field. Another season full of hope.
Shu is definitely one of the best investments I've made. I did the Annihilation with her, and apparently her ability to teleport foes also applies to to the spheres that you can smack enemies with, which basically means that they can run over enemies, teleport back, and then run over them again until they die. So even the tankiest enemies get crushed by them, which is good because those RoboCop-looking enemies are an absolute nightmare to fight normally. It was just so much easier. Some good stuff here. Fight war with war and death with death. And don't worry, as I mentioned before, I do in fact have stamina potions, so I'll use as many of those as I see fit. Ooh, this one might be a little tricky. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring a non-meme option here. I mean, it's a nice hella drop, it's just that he kinda need... In fact, to Lessing's credit, he actually does deal quite a bit of damage as a hella drop. It's just that he doesn't have anything reducing his cooldown time to be redeployed quickly like his fellow 6-star Scotty is. Because, I guess because he's not an Abyssal Hunter, and holy crap, do the devs favor the Abyssal Hunters.
Huh? I'm the leader? Not sure how it'll go, but...
Did I actually unlock F-Eater's module and forget to equip it? No, I did not. Well, she doesn't need it anyways. The pusher modules are okay, but they're not really necessary, which is of course kind of an important deal, largely because of... I should probably also bring Silver Ash here.
We all have our roles to play.
Yeah, for a lot of the units, the modules are just a nice bonus. It's not really a game changer, like... Only a handful like Passenger or Gladia have them as game changers. The Exemplars meet the enemy. Dukas receives news. Dublin's forces join. Who the hell are those things in the sky? Actually, let me grab a sip of my drink before I continue on. Yeah, I absolutely need a full bottle of water for a VN like this. I'm gonna be focusing down Chapter 14 until it's complete. I want it done this week, if at all possible. And assuming it has 23 pieces like implied here, I should be fine. The only disappointment is the welfare for it, and the upgrades that I'm looking forward to in particular are probably not going to come until I've already beaten the whole thing, which is slightly annoying, but I do have all the mats for it, so I'm going to have a lot of fun. What the hell are those things up in the sky? Get down! Cough, cough. Delphine, your right hand! Don't touch. This isn't a normal cannon fire. Sarka's witchcraft is corrosive. I won't be much help. These people still trapped in this polluted area. It's too late for them. Got shit in the air, stuff growing from the ground, and crystals dust everywhere. Can't even take a damn step. The Sarkas want to turn this battlefield into their home turf, forcing us to put down our gear and cower while they pummel us. When it comes to head-to-head infantry battle, the Sarkas will surely have the advantage of their natural physique. I get it now, it's all some dirty trick. Which is why we can't afford to get caught off guard. If they ever get the drop on us, we're done for on the spot. Morgan, give as many of our vehicles up and running as you can. Avoid any close combat with Sarkaz infantry. Even if a vehicle is destroyed, don't overlook the mounted cannon. They're the best weapons we got. Understood. Delphine, send the signals out as widely as you can. Exemplars will be able to maintain communication that way at least. Of course. If we want to push forward, we're gonna have to take that altar up, down that altar up ahead. Horn, covering fire. Roger. Indra, your team's responsible for holding the enemy back. Doesn't matter if it's casters, arts creations, or whatever those things are up in the sky. You got it. Dagda's team, you're with me. Same as always. Same as always. I can see the core. Move out. Another altar of Sarkaz witchcraft. Climb up, pull, leap, bring down the hammer. As the war rages on, they become more and more familiar with these war machines resemble the devil's eyes. They become more and more familiar with war itself. Vina often feels as if Indra, Morgan, and Dagda have changed somewhat. She trusts that the very same changes can be seen in her. Is it change for the better, or change that came far too late? The crimson eye stares at her. The Eye of Sauron. The hammer comes down hard, and the altar begins to collapse before Siege even reaches the ground. It worked! Phew! We took it down quicker than the last one. I hear something. Back up. Something's growing out of the bloody thing. It's another altar, not far from the one we knocked down. How many of these buggers they bury? Bloody hell! There's no end to them. Siege tightly grips her hammer. They're adapting, but not quickly enough. Trilby Asher, has the location of the Stone of Sword changed? I haven't been notified of any change in the plan. Can the ship still move with all the originium crystals everywhere? I'll have you know, Victoria is the most powerful fleet on land. We might be slowed a little, but we're certainly not without options. I hear naval guns. I do believe it's Duke Gastrel going by the sound. The next round of our assault's beginning. We have no choice. If the sword can deactivate the originium, we have to activate it immediately. It's the only way. One of the Amber Corn's assault ships has run to the Sarkaz Advance Brigade. The enemy was hiding in the fog and suddenly appeared. Our vision severely limited by the originium crystals. We cannot follow their movements at all. Has the mid-range communication been restored yet? The ship's comm tower is still out of commission. Engineers trying to repair, but in this originium-dense zone. Your Grace, what are you doing on deck? There's originium dust everywhere. Please try to not leave the command center. Oh, I've heard that Wellington always stands on the deck of the Gastrel, personally commanding his frontline troops. The Iron Duke has been through many battles, though, but you... Just now, the Gastrel has opened fire. Your ears did not deceive you. Is he still pressing forward? I'm afraid so. The Iron Duke's forces have penetrated deeper than we thought, and about to collide with the Sarkaz core units. Wellington? Does he plan to take the head of a Sarkaz regent? The Wesley Wellington I knew was indeed a warrior before he became the Iron Duke. His bravery might have bordered on madness, but he would never gamble with the outcome of a battle. Regardless, the Iron Duke's recklessness has placed us at great risk. As per the initial orders, Duke Ambercorn and Astaroth's men are following with the Iron Duke. Along with them, our vanguard as well. Factoring in the surrounding originium, our front lines being stretched thin. And what are the eyes you've placed aboard the Gastrel? Nothing yet. Even us Trilby Ashers are experiencing some serious delays in communication. Aileen, confirm the status of the Stone of Sword. No issues so far. We will never allow the Stone of Sword to be tainted by Sarkaz witchcraft. Your Grace, the poet has launched the flare. So Alexandrina and the Sigh of Kings will arrive soon. Have your people keep a close eye. Do not let the sword get lost in the battlefield. We must put the Sigh of Kings to work immediately. Unless the comms are restored fully, the so-called Ducal Alliance is a non-entity. The enemy seems to be getting stronger. The same witchcraft eats away at us while strengthening them. Siege, watch out! So it's a power sapper. Stat stealer. Doggone. The hammer falls on a portion of Najir's warrior's body's caved in, but he continues to advance. Yeah, stuff like this is why I interpret them a bit more as zombies than reapers, since their standard damage isn't usual. But I guess the same could be said of reaper monsters. Dagda leaps back, splitting his waist with her metal claws. The Trilby Asher's flaming blade pierces his chest. They'll gasp. That's just one. There's still many more ahead. These Sarkaz are truly monsters. These blood devils are all monsters. Damn it, they're not even flesh and blood. Do you think they're already dead? Already dead. Strange noises can be heard in all directions. They're distinct from the sounds of originium crystals piercing the ground, and they're not omens of the explosion of originium dust. Oh, Captain, we can't hold out like this. There's no end to them. Better focus on the one right in front of you, then. There's always going to be someone standing up front. Raise the shield, fire the cannon. Repeat ad infinitum. Victoria possesses the strongest weapons in Terra. One shell could easily blow apart a Sarkaz's armor. Just as quickly, two more run forth the same to take the place. In three, the artillery fire unleashes its fury, but cannot stem the surging tide. There's no end to the enemies. She can hardly tell how many Sarkaz are on the ground in front of her. Some standing, some lying. The number of fallen Victorians is perhaps even greater. She can hear bagpipe shouts and whistling of the spear. For those she has the utmost solace, and that's enough to keep her fighting on. A plume of firelight suddenly springs up not too far away. Bagpipe. Oh, what is it, Captain? I think I just saw Hill again. Oh, Hill. That same face. The face that appears in nightmares every now and again, reminding how tragically her teammates died. The face of that traitor. He's dead. Oh, that one lying over there seems to have been killed in action some time ago. Captain, how did he... He moved. He's standing up again. The man clad in the uniform of Wellington's forces staggers towards them. He lifts the blade in his hand, slashes the Sarkaz front of horn. The armor's too thick and the recoil pushes his hands away. His arms contort strangely and he strikes. Then a third. A familiar visage is getting closer and closer. In the midst, only a tiny speck of purple dances. It's her, it's Dublin. Alright. Iblana and her sister have the power of flames of life, which means even the dead can be reanimated. I lay down now my soldier's honor here, so that in the time the soil of Tara need no longer be soaked in carmine blood, and Draco crossed no swords with Draco kin. Be that use unless a day comes whereupon the Red Dragon's flame shall lead all those who fell, our fighters from Forge to be reborn. The third set of altars has been crushed. Milady, our casters and flying soldiers are in position. We're about to approach the largest altar. Our deceased compatriots have managed to protect us from the devil's vile pollution, but the destructive power of their witchcraft is unprecedented. Allow me. Milady, you're going to destroy the altar yourself? You, as my subjects, have done all you needed to do. I, as your sovereign, ought to lead you forward. How can I take this land as my own if I never set foot upon it? The Red Dragon's flame shall fall upon the battlefield's front lines, just as it has for thousands of years. Our altar's being raised. Stay in formation. Don't get scattered by the flames. Keep casting. There's nothing but a ragtag group of impotent outbloods. Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that. We're nothing like those Victorians who have it easy. Every Terran warrior has been forged within the shadows, tempered by pain and suffering. We were once known as specters, for we knew the most intimately the scent of death. I won't let you. Trying to turn yourself into an arts catalyst to detonate the altar. As you wish. No, I'm too late. The spark of life gradually fades, and in its place burns a deathly purple flame, leaving across the body of the slain warrior just as it dances in Iblana's eyes. There is no royal court in death's domain. Sarkaz, your people know death so well, only because you fought enough wars. See that? Death itself stands with us. Our enemies are not inscrutable demons. Drag those Sarkaz from their pretentious art circles and give them a taste of our crossbows and cannons. Man, I love how menacing Iblana looks. The only question is, what's going to happen when she and Reed finally work together? Well, or rather, will they have to fight each other? Reed alters event had her consider that she might seriously have to fight her, but Iblana doesn't seem to mind either way, almost. The only one she seemed bothered by was that Tallulah is still alive, but their fight made it clear that Tallulah has her own plans that Iblana doesn't have to worry about. They also ended up talking for way longer than necessary to get that point across, but I guess at a certain point they were probably just screwing with each other for fun. Brigadier, I see flame burning within your eyes. I've waited too long for this. Just like countless other Terran warriors, all of us grew up hearing the legends of the Empire's death knell, enlisted with burning fervor in our hearts. But over the last few decades, Wellington's administrator and the Duke have had their hands tied. We've been caught with cracks in other between the cracks of other dukes' negotiation tables. So many hot-blooded warriors were oppressed because of their background, while many others perished in conspiracies. I've endured for so many years, not even let see myself turn to a scheming villain, all witnessing a real war. No one ignited by the nobles' pretty party jockeying. Only on such a battlefield can a warrior's death be glorious and meaningful. If I'm to die this battle, then please bestow upon me your flames, so that I may stand once more. Until my remains are fully consumed by fire, until our promised nation's been established, I shall never lay down my arms. Excellent. Now then, come with me. Do you see the throne of Deadwood? That's the Sarkaz leader, the Najir Nezsalim, he who calls himself the Lord of War and Death. The Sarkaz royal court sure has a thing for these overblown titles. Overblown? Hardly. He just happens to be ancient enough. But he is not the only living legend here. Of course. Not far away, naval guns roar. Ancient witchcraft is not the only force that caused the mountains to move. Now, let us pit war against war and death against death. Alright, it's Reed is the fires of life, and Iblana is the fires of death. Hence why Reed can heal with her flames, while Iblana brings undead warriors. My patriarch, the hunt's been cut short. That Draco's flames have broken our formation. Draco. Thousands of years ago, the Sarkaz first lost their homeland. They once did battle against a red dragon on this very soil. Those flames turned fields of Sarkaz into charred stone. They're still beside us, beneath our feet. We will slay her. A red dragon will sate her appetite for a while. She's not the one who drives this war. The Najir king turns his gaze towards a certain part of the battlefield. Behind the red dragon, smoke and flames, a huge shadow is rushing towards him at unexpected speed. A titan that casts a shadow across the land, able to check mountains and rivers, but with a single breath. No longer is it a mere red dragon. All parameters set. Loading complete. Firing interference shells. Target locked on. Main guns. First salvo. Confirmed hit. General, we've swept the obstacles away. Ah, good, good. Gastrel, all ahead full. Our objective, the Nazir's throne. Unfortunately, Damasti might have been able to no-sell our attempts to kill it, but Sanguinarch is out, and that's still a major player out. If we can take out the Nazir King, that's one of the biggest aces in the hole gone. The naval guns roar. Wellington's well acquainted with his most loyal subject, the oldest gun aboard the ship, which assisted him in blowing open the gates of Lingones. He killed the mightiest nomadic city in Terra. He pulled the spine from its corpse and made it part of his own warship. Afterwards, he took the Gastrel to many lands and conquered many foes. Art's orbs of Lethanian casters, the shields of vanguards, the golden blades of Sargonian assassins. He collected and modified the most valuable components of his enemies and placed them upon his flagship. But not for the sake of commemoration. Only those who have become weak and frail through the passage of time need to rely on vestiges to remember the past. The Gastrel must step over the bones of his enemies and assimilate their power to become even stronger. This is the only way the two of them can defeat even stronger enemies together. Intercept them. The crystal barrier has been shattered. Our enemy continues to advance. How they must long for death, using artillery fire to clear a path. Wave after wave of cannon fire pours down the sea of Originium. Golden fragments crack and split apart, revealing a gap between those congealed waves. How dare they approach us? A thick haze envelops the battleship. Countless Nazir warriors land on the deck, the entire vessel enveloped in the glow of witchcraft. Rend, dismantle, corrode. The cadence of gunfire gradually shows, the hardened steel hulls being digested like any other prey that's fallen to the Nazir's art circles. Capture complete. No, not yet. He lifts up his scepter. Branches go rapidly from beneath the throne, blocking the front of the warriors. A shell lodges between the branches. A few seconds later, the shell explodes, tearing the branches asunder. The first time since the battle began, the Nazir's throne shakes. My patriarch! It matters not. From the thick haze of corruption, the warship comes into view. The outer layer flayed by corruption, almost half of its main and secondary guns disabled due to bombardment of witchcraft shells. Only the steel frame remains shining. And yet she is nevertheless still the Gastrel, the mightiest warship of the land, and our master. The Sarkaz atop the throne lowers his head, noticing a faint shadow among the crystal clusters. Oh yeah, this feels good. We're actually fighting in the trenches. General, the Gastrel has successfully drawn the attention of the main Sarkaz force. They didn't even notice we were transferred from the main ship. Wait, something's coming in fast. Guardsmen, tighten formation. A salvo of artillery. Only a few tiny twigs fall from the smoke and dust. The force was enough to shatter those crystalline waves cannot even shake. The force that was enough to shatter those crystalline waves cannot even shake the figure floating in the air. The Nazir King casts his gaze down upon the commander of the center of the army. Not far behind the old feline, a bloodthirsty warship is waiting, eager to tear at his rotting flesh. Duke of Victoria. We've devoured many Victorians. General, Duke, whatever the title, they all taste the same. Conspirators, merchants, but none of their warriors. They saw the battlefield as little more than a sandbox atop a table. As the soldiers, mere chess pieces. The war itself only a tool for power and profit. How frivolous war was to them. We are different. Your sheer ship has also feasted on many enemies. Ursine, Lithanian, Gaulish, and Sarkaz. Yes, I can smell their flesh. They have also been absorbed by the Nazirs. Sarkaz, I've read plenty of records about you. The ancient Nazirs, with a tenth of the Victorian army's numbers, were able to halt the advance on Kazdel. A feat of war that defies all reason, one that cannot be taught at military academies or replicated. Are you here to take revenge? Haha! My only regret is that I hadn't been born 200 years ago. They apparently call you a god of war. No, there are no gods that come to war. Comes to war, there only exists the moment of victory or defeat. Wellington draws his sword and points at the Sarkaz midair. Behind him, all the guns of the ship are pointing the same direction. Naj Salim, I will defeat you, just like all the other mighty foes that have fallen at my hands.
Compassion saves no one on the battlefield.
I finished construction of the refinement system. Deployment point confirmed. Tell me what you... Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
Showtime!
I'm sure this won't end badly for me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it this way.
I'm Peter. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. Get thorns over here.
Tell me what you... Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
It's not my wish to take lives.
If you're really incapable of settling this, then let me handle it.
Uh-huh. From flexibility comes power. Would any of you like to be my paint?
I wasn't supposed and bone bear weak.
With the setting of the sun, the brush draws up the peaks. Here we go. This is straight out of one of my movies.
I'm gonna need Ray's power here.
Only step where I step.
Uh-huh. From flexibility comes power. Points where I'm hearing movement. Doctor, you will not come to harm.
When 'tis a choice of life and death.
From flexibility comes power.
Better leave
With the setting of the sun, the brush draws up the peaks.
a knife. Even a virtuous king must from time to time look
Darn
to
it.
the sword.
Flourish or perish.
Very well.
Oh, this is no good. Oh yeah, that's a lot of AoE. That's a lot of AoE here, and I just don't have the raw numbers. Alright, I need more raw AoE.
Victory and loss are insignificant moments in an endless cycle.
Alright, well I have one AoE there, but I'm definitely gonna need something else. Thorns is 2 single target. I can't use him. I guess Blaze is probably not half bad. I could also use Highmore, who also has true AoE. But it might be better to go with Blaze as the safe option
Count
here.
me in.
I need more AoE here. Who else do I have for AoE? Passenger's not half bad, but that's too many enemies. I'm probably going to want Lyn, for better or for worse. Aya, there's too many enemies for Aya. I need someone with true AoE.
If any of you have any doubts about the target, this is your last chance to pull out.
Well, here we go. We're gonna get another go. And how much stamina do I lose if I fail again?
Let's get this over with.
Oh yeah, because sanity protection because of the, yeah, that makes sense.
You're in a complex environment. Don't go off on your own or you might get disoriented. Oh! The landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step.
This place could use some heat.
To gaze the fire from afar, knowing not its heat.
Let's put them 6 feet under.
Stop! Watch your step. Don't hurt the cross.
Got it.
Ray time.
Here for me is needed. Point where I'm hearing movement.
You want to talk?
Too late.
There's but a flash in the drift of time.
I wasn't the clear skies for tuning. Rain clouds for belief.
When 'tis a choice of life and death, why?
Watch your step. Don't hurt the cross.
Point where I'm done rambling in the dark.
Yes, I'm listening. Their life is mine to protect.
Doctor, take flight.
Oh, this is bad. Yeah, they're all dying too fast because of that tornado. Okay, so bringing the tornado over to help damage the enemies is not a good idea.
Comms might cut out. If things get grim, I'll leave the most discernible signs I can.
Yeah, there's too many enemies there. Maybe I should go with S1 on Lynn, actually. Giving everyone exploding shields might actually help here.
If any of you have any doubts about the target, this is your last chance to pull out.
Where?
Sound of muddy air, tracks of animal. I'll keep a watch that way. You lot stay up there if it gets risky.
May the war grant us the redemption we seek. Or will it?
Point where I'm done rambling in the dark.
Stop! Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
When 'tis a choice of life and death, why shouldst thou lay down thy arm?
This is the battlefield.
Tell me what you read. The Eighth of the Wind. We too can soar through the skies.
A knife, even a virtuous king, must from time to time look to the sword.
I'm hearing movement.
Got it. Give me a reason to let you go. Don't have one? What a pity.
Spring breeze, timely rain. Now we sow the grain.
Shoot.
The fool flaunting his gallantry reaches none.
Yeah, I needed to get Shining out. I probably should have gotten Shining out faster because that defense
You
buff
all
is
leg it.
pretty essential.
Comms might cut out. If things get grim, I'll leave the most discernible signs I can.
Come on. I know I can do it with this team, but I need someone else. I guess I could bring Lynn S1 and just hope that helps.
If any of you have any doubts about the target, this is your last
Just
chance
because that's
to
a
pull out.
permanently active AoE with true AoE. No target limits, which is absolutely an essential thing.
Us frontline breachers have high standards. Try to keep up.
Stop! Watch your step. Don't hurt the crops.
Hear the roar of my chainsaw.
It's not my sword's gonna cleave your bodies and values alike.
Stop! Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
Yeah, you'll hear from me as needed. Got my bolts, thread at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
Let's put them 6 feet under.
'Tis but a flash.
The landscape here is tricky. Only step where I step.
Got it. You want to talk? Too late for that.
When 'tis a choice of life and
that's as far as you go.
Acknowledged.
Tell me what you... Watch your step. Don't hurt the cross. Tell me what you require, and I will...
War. A word I've not heard in a long, long time.
oh, my body burns at open.
The fool flaunted his gallantry.
Though the mountains
Oh, shoot.
summer leaves are white dew, see the plains when equinox paint unweary movement. Better leave the fun.
Copy the infinite with the tangible. Bring the intent flight. Fresh blood coats my saw and boils.
Good at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
Ah, crap. Yeah, that's not gonna be enough.
Where the marching, a war song. Follow.
I wasn't flesh and bone bear weeds, mounds and ruins bloom fields.
Don't go too far. Watch the shadow behind you.
Truly evocative.
Very well.
Point where an unweary movement.
Got it. Shatter in the
Made up your mind. Thy pleas falleth upon deaf ears.
Damn it. No good. That's not gonna cut it. That was 2 enemies too. That's awful.
There's always a way to correct a mistake. Don't let anger get the best of you.
Enemy HP increase and some enemies differ. I guess I could aim something down, but what would I aim down? I guess Passenger could do something with his S2. Centella... Actually, let me just... How many spaces down is that? Elite guards, Zagus of hatred. Sacrifice. I'm pretty sure there's a gimmick with these guys, but I'm not sure what. At least the good news is that even the home server, they have nothing has elemental resistance, so Arturia... Isn't that a skill 1? Why do they have her S1 equipped? For AFK purposes, I guess? But... I know I have multiple people with her on here, with Virtuosa on here. Holy crap, game! Why are you just giving... Oh. Oh, I see. Everyone just has their Virtuosa with it. That is kind of annoying. They don't have modules yet. They will, and as per usual, it's designed to help the 6-star, and nobody, and the devs straight up don't care. For the others, I don't have a choice at this point. My only other dealer of elemental damage is not.
I hate it when I'm ordered around without rhyme or reason, but ordering others sits just as badly with me. Prolonged casting makes my headaches flare up, and I even hallucinate if I'm unlucky. Let's make it a blitzkrieg, shall we?
Watch your step. Don't hurt the cross.
seeds of this tragedy planted.
It's not my wish to take lives.
Stop! Until we can confirm that this area is safe, I will hold this position.
This place could use some heat.
Careful of music on the battlefield.
Feel your own self. To your heart's content.
Hinfort aus meinem Kopf! Faster tempo?
Yeah, unfortunately, Eben's,
Let's just get this done with.
Tell me what you read the landscape here is tricky.
I shall protect you.
Finish or perish.
For a word I've not heard in a long grief.
Ever echoes in our souls.
You dare strike my shield with your spear?
As startling as a tritone.
Liberty and sunlight all around us. If you're really, I plant you into the soil to grow anew.
You lot stay up there if it gets risky.
Suffering.
Ray, we need you to kill these guys. Luckily, they're stat sticks, but Ray specializes in killing stat sticks. Thing is, I don't think we have enough damage for this. Artillery alone can't do it.
Hinfort aus meinem Kopf!
Yeah, the attack shred's only doing so much. Yeah, Eben has genuinely not been able to help at all for this.
The concert may begin at any time.
Very well.
I'll plant you into the soil to grow anew.
Oh no, this is actually working.
What are you planning? Art thou mine worthy enemy? Or art thou not for the jest?
Got my bow straight at my position.
Ray, get a full set of ammo and fire. Okay. I have no idea how we won that, but we did. I guess Arturia really did make the difference. There's no way I could have done that with Valarquin. I'm sorry. I love the elemental effect, and I like to have fun with Valarquin, but there's just no question that she's nowhere near Arturia's level. 65 hours in the operation. Design group follows the trail. The battle between the Ducal Alliance and Nagiers is brutal. Just further ahead is the Silver Rock. The Originium response is intense and the vehicles has already been paralyzed. The Exemplars have a pretty tough task ahead of them. When the Side Kings and Stone Sword become one, we'll be able to see it from our position. Catastrophes be sundered. It's only a myth. When people see the things that defy explanation, they exaggerate and romanticize them when passing them down to generations. Side Kings and Shard, then. The Shard is an application of Originium on the same level as large-scale witchcraft devices, and the Side Kings is able to neutralize certain Originium reactions. I see you've done your homework. Originium is often likened to a chronic disease. The Terra's response to catastrophes has always basically been to avoid them. It's incredibly difficult to people directly intervene in the mechanisms of Originium. Victorians have long since mastered these tools to save themselves. The origin of the Side Kings lies not in Victoria, right? The first time I saw the Side Kings was deep within the palace of the Shahansha in Sargon. People regard it as a symbol of Aslan's royal authority and believe it can protect any settlement or city. This is indeed true. It's able to neutralize Originium reactions to a certain extent. Only to a certain extent? That's right. No matter how much effort the Sargonian casters put into unearthing and retrofitting it, it was nothing but a former city defense device. During the era in which it was put to use, Originium was not yet widely available across the continent. I trust that it will be able to temporarily put a stop to Annam and get the Farenmith's spine an opportunity to take off, but it's not an inhibitor that can completely seal the Originium opportunity. Have you been disappointed too many times over all these years? Doctor, from your current perspective, what do you think Originium is? We've learned what it is thanks to Babel, but the Doctor does not. A phenomenon brewing with unknown, a resource to exploit, or perhaps a source of disaster and disease? Well, I can't say. We lost our memories, after all. You don't want to, because your answer would be all the above. Originium has long been inextricably woven into everything we see. Our environment, technology, culture, even our very bodies. If a portion of a limb is necrotic, cutting it off might solve the problem, but what if the problem stretches from beginning to end? There are some people who see you as omnipotent, you know. Why are you looking at me? Doctor, you asked me if I've ever experienced disappointment. Just once, I allowed myself to become overly dependent on one person, made a series of poor judgments, and paid the price. Yeah, you're probably thinking she's referring to the Doctor's past self before his memories were erased, and you are 100% correct. And I'm not marking that as a spoiler because we need to already know this information from Babel before we do this. We need to know this truth behind their history. Wait, are you referring to? But it doesn't mean I'll stop believing. It's difficult to rebel against the very foundation of our origins. To pin your hopes on just one technology or person is unrealistic. Dr. Calista, please look at this. There's a cave up ahead. So someone has concealed the entrance. Crude and twisted, one of the Confessarius' illusions, no. And for the record, if you're curious about the one that got away, the one that I regret most, I don't think it's actually going to be Whissadale. As powerful she is, I actually think Arturia is the one I'm going to be continue regretting not pulling for most, because elemental damage is just insane, and even with the 6 or 7 months ahead that the home server is, we know nothing has elemental resistance. And frankly, as much as people like to claim that she'll be bad as soon as they start having it, well, arts units are still generally considered stronger than physical, even though arts is a percentage reduction. For one thing. And also, well, it's like saying game is dead in 2 months and then you just update that every 2 months. You don't get to do that. Frankly, if you want my opinion, I think the most we'll see for anti-elemental stuff is a CC tag or something that specifically bans it. Probably to keep a particular strategy from being too good. I'm sure we'll find a witchcraft altar at its deepest point. We should go to where the Originium response is strongest. This level of Originium is unprecedented. Logos, you're feeling... How are you feeling on me? Logos, you're also infected. Do you feel anything abnormal? I'd be lying if I said these environmental conditions weren't affecting me at all. But it's more than just the Originium. Under the influence of Anonymum, the Originium will come closer to its true nature. The crystal clusters will merge with all things living and dead at an increasing rate, sealing all the data inside in an assimilated form. Originium can only store information within its own structure. As such, any assimilated individuals will lose the forms they have in life. Yeah, so anyone who dies to it just becomes data within it, a recording. It will not... They're not alive or anything. Some may see this as nothing more than instantaneous decomposition, just like those who die from an Oriepathy outbreak. There are some parallels. In the case of these patients, after their consciousness disperses, the bodies will disintegrate into highly activated Originium dust over a period of time. Assimilation, on the other hand, condenses this entire process to the extreme. Rhodes Island's technology can only delay cells' Originium assimilation rate from reaching a certain threshold. We're not able to truly erect a barrier that can stave it off. Don't worry too much about that, Doctor. The Originium saturation rate in our current environment is far from an extreme level. Is our situation not extreme enough still? Right now, we can still breathe and move about. If we're quick enough to stop it from spreading further, all hope is not yet lost. Doctor, Calcid and Doctor, I can hear enemy movements. Logos, please prepare to intercept the enemy. Confessari. Intruders, it's the Banshee. And, there are quite a few guards, but they're not difficult to manage. There must be greater dangers yet lurking in the shadows. Doctor, please stay close to us. The interference of Confessarius witchcraft is making it hard for me to pinpoint the exact location, but the blood of Tika is undoubtedly nearby. Tika's blood aroused the first Originium from its slumber. Over the millennia, the fate of Sarka has been tangled with Originium. Ami and Logos are suffering, or rather, they've shouldered this pain all this time to come this far. What about you, then? You think of all this time Calcit has had to suppress the words she wished to say. You're not only a witness and a bystander, surely you share a deeper connection with Originium, this war, and everything that's been going on. Yeah, the Doctor's kind of behind. Yeah, the big reveal of Babel is relevant here, so the big reveal is the Doctor is behind everything. And Originium, wrote down all of it, including the priestess. We still know very little about her, but we do at least have a general idea of her goals and such like that. Which is funny, Arcanites knows more about their priestess than FGO knows about their mysterious priestess. And we barely know anything about ours, so take that as you will. Oh, this is the blood of Tikaz, Dukariel's obsession. The so-called pure blood is free of impurities. By itself, it possesses no inherent power. Amiya, cut off its connection to the altar. Got it. Wait. Doctor? Dr. Kelsa? Monster, attack the corpse of the guard over there. Roar. Monster? There's another monster? No, there's more than one. All those defeated guards weren't real guards at all. Near perfect replicas. Only he could decorate this cave that looks nearly identical to the real altar. This was a trap designed to lure us in. Damatsi cluster. Amiya, get behind me. Roar. Monster stands in front of you, and you grip Amiya's hand tightly. The blood of Tikaz is collapsing along with the entire altar, the surrounding rock walls pressing ever closer. Sheesh, we did all that work to defeat Damazi cluster, and they're back stronger than ever. They're a slime, so they can be absolutely anything they want, so I admit I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit unsure what to call them. I guess the game just uses neutral stuff, so I'll just stick to that. If you have a preference, rest assured the slime creature will certainly be able to appeal with. Feel free to waifu or husbando them. The illusion's no more. The shifting terrain is real. The real altar must still be functioning. The originium continues to grow, and it will soon consume all you see. Doctor! This is the Confessori's den. We seem to have fallen at the deepest level of the altar. The originium was shifting too fast. The only time I had to was to grab onto you. I don't know where Dr. Calcet and Logos are. There's just too much originium and too much information. I can't sense them. They're probably far away by now. The enemy wanted to entrap us. They want to stop us from destroying the altar, but you might still be the Confessori's true target. What they want is the King of Sarkaz. The ground's still shaking and the cluster's still spreading. Wait, that's... Ah, crap, not these things again. Roar. A monster suddenly crawls forth from the Originium depths. The horns of wind. The body of a gargoyle, the flames of a Diablo. You've seen... And yes, the Diablo always has the alpha symbol as its A for whatever reason. I imagine that has a meaningful reason for being there, but you have seen these before in the Confessori's stone sculptures, those various Garkaz tribes, but never before sharing the same body. His emotions are chaotic. I see only memories, fragmented, blurred, mashed together. Amiya, over there. There will be many more, Doctor. This is the cave that gave birth to them. The Confessori sculpted them from Sarkaz blood and Originium, and gave birth to these creatures. Holy crap, they're the worst kind of mad scientists. Does this make you feel sad? They're alive, Doctor. They aren't chunks of rock or constructs of witchcraft. They're living beings. But they obey only the call of the Confessorius. They do not feel pain or cry for their fate. People would normally call these creatures actual monsters. That's right, monsters. Or alternatively, chimeras. Who are you even mourning for? For the mindless kin or for yourself, the chimera forced to wear a crown? Roar. The fight is about to begin. Ame, are you being affected anyway? Doctor, I won't let the Confessorius trap me a second time. I'm not so fragile as to let these illusions and nightmares get to me. The name Chimera is no different from these dream interrogations. I've heard it many times before. I have no right to be here if I let myself get shaken by that. Beyond that, however, I swore I'd never let my immaturity drag you down ever again. A tiny crown appears above the rabbit girl. Black lines interweave and take form between her fingers. Your connection with the king is deepening. Perhaps, but it might not be enough. Ooh, am I gonna get her upgrade? Her alternate, whatever you wish to call it. Amiya, don't be in such a hurry to leave. These clones are nothing before my incantations, Damatsi. Or as you so once put it, it is time wasted. We remember the performance and the stroll. We talked for quite some time. That day you at least still consider yourself a lord of the royal court, despite having a different appearance. What are you now? We try to take on different identities, but these varying journeys have yet to provide us with any kind of answer. What we conclude is the path is neither beginning nor end. It is a cycle, and you sought out death to prove it. At death's end is nothingness. The myriad souls of which you speak have said nothing to us. Banshee, how did it feel to sound the bone whistle for us? Shatter. There's no end to them. This is all you can muster? You've lost a lot of bite after your first death. The clone destroyed by the incantation does not dissipate into nothingness as before. Instead, the body collapses, shaking into originium tides until it quickly disappears without a trace. Ah, so we're actually able to deal some real damage to them now, or is it just Logos having a special ability? From it, a hand resembling a withered branch extends the crystal cluster. Suram. Banshee, you once killed me as well. On the battlefield, I am not one of you. In Kazdel, I was ordered to kill those who betrayed the royal court. You got in my way and separated my head from my shoulders with their incantations. You were but a child then, with a puerile voice. Oh yes, I remember you. The traitors you mentioned were a family of 3 who wanted to flee Kazdel in search of a peaceful life. They swore an oath of fealty to the royal court. The royal court should never be held above ordinary sarcasm. You may have been a hero of Kazdel once, but not allow you to slaughter civilians. So you chose Babel and Theresa, all for the sake of your so-called ordinary sarcasm. That is the righteous path of this future. But even after she died, you still didn't return to Kazdel. You even helped out the outsiders steal away the King of Sarkaz. The inheritance of the King of Sarkaz was a decision made by Her Highness Theresa. You killed me with your own hands. With your incantations recoiling around my heart. When your incantations were coiling around my heart, strangling it. I couldn't believe it. After fighting alongside each other for so many years, what have you felt towards me paled in comparison to these outsiders? The potted golden grass you left behind on the ship is growing well now. After Her Highness's death, how many comrades you slay with your own hands during the internal strife that engulfed Babel? The belongings left behind by so many people. I'm sure there's enough of them to fill your whole room, huh? Do you feel sorrow every time you look at that patch of grass I planted in the pot on a whim? If I were to feel sorrow, it would be because even death has denied you the solace you deserve. Demazi, you were never so keen as to dress yourself up as the dead before. This exchange of words cannot provide you with any answers, nor can probing my emotions. The dead do not respond. They continue to emerge from the dark crystal structures. Many faces, some familiar, some not, but all of them sarcasm. Your innate abilities are resonating with the information stored in the Originium. Seeing as how your powers have grown thanks to the Originium. Logos raises one hand. No incantations are needed, just a low humming from the vibrating of rock walls. In a heartbeat, all the clones are shattered. Just as expected, there's only one left, the very last one. It's you. The vampire Oh, please tell me it's another clone. The vampire stands in the cave's depths. His expression is almost identical to when he stood atop the Farenmut's skull that day. However, it's no longer fresh blood that rolls around him as before, but rather clusters of crystal. Logos can feel the blood in his body stirring. The sanguinarch of vampires, Dukariel. You're not like the others, I know this. You're not one of Demazi's avatars. So, let me get this straight. We kicked the Sanguinarch's ass, we sent him off into the pit of a pocket dimension, which he explicitly stated there was no exit for, because he wanted to kill Amia there in order to prevent the King of Sarkaz from ever going to anyone else again, by the way. And yet he's here as if nothing happened. Lovely. Lord Demazi, this portion of you has decided to assist Quisartage. No, we have no interest in helping anyone particular. We're simply searching for answers. Calcit, we have met you before, when the Sarkaz were not yet Sarkaz. You walked across us. I have no recollection of any such meeting. At that time, we were unable to speak. And then, the first king of Tikaz came into contact with Originium. That was our first awakening. The first individual rose up from among us. So that explains why Sarkaz have such an innate connection to Originium. We felt one another. We had existed for an unknown amount of time before that, but it was only at that moment we became aware of our existence. We began to think. Originium will assimilate all life forms it comes in contact with, not just you, but also the original vampires, banshees. All Tikaz of change. You're approaching the form of another entity that once existed in this land. Then, what are you? Howls agitatedly. He seems extremely averse to seeing another self. Calcit, the immortal. Do you still remember what you looked like at first? The immortal is a figment of certain people's imagination, and a misrepresentation of myself. Time leaves its marks upon me all the same. The original entity by the name of Calcit has long since lost beneath the golden sands. That's right. She's a Time Lord, if you recall. So when she dies, she is reincarnated. Okay, she is reborn in another self. It's a thing they do to replace the actors every so often. Oh, but you're still yourself? We are watching as you're reborn at Theros' side. You are different from your previous self. From your appearance to your personality, we are used to constant change for the sake of survival. Well, among the Sarkaz, the Damacy cluster is unique. We once thought you were like us. We know many Calcit, just as Calcit knows many of us. However, we will always be whole. Each Damacy is a receptor for us to feel in this land. But Calcit is different. Each Calcit is you. I do believe that to be true. Why? Is it the inheritance of memory that makes you persistent? Memory can be easily tampered with and implanted. This we know, for many long-lived beings have tried such methods. Such immortality is nothing but an empty lie. Then is some kind of duty? I won't deny that my life has been duty-bound from the moment I was born. Looking back, I don't think I've ever truly been alive. The substance that makes up your body have all been replaced. The memories inherited from your previous self are unreliable. The mission imposed upon you may not even be your own. Calcit, what is it that's kept the continuity of you across these thousands of years? A fun fact, I think it's every, well, yeah, you might, yeah, don't take this, take this with some salt. But, supposedly those fun facts people talk about include, that apparently every single cell in your body is replaced after a period of 7 years. So the you now is different from the you of 7 years ago, theoretically. Isn't that interesting? Calcit, what's it kept the continuity of you across these 100 years? A name. A unique name or title. It's a question that so many emotionally depraved Sarkaz would be keenly interested in. The name has many meanings. The person who gave me this name, the people I care about, are now in danger. It isn't the time for us to be having this chat. We did not expect you to be this sentimental. Monster. Excited howl.
Our wills and spirits are ever burning against the fiercest enemies.
I imagine there's a gimmick to that makes it a lot easier, like correctly positioning the cloud and then putting everything back or something, but I don't know, even the, oh crap, this one's red. That means it's marked as a particularly difficult mission. Alright, so I'm gonna want a puller, possibly a pusher as well. No, just a pusher's fine. Yeah, I'm fine using a stamina potion for this purpose. And let's bring back a feeder.
Huh? I'm the leader? Not sure how it'll go, but...
Yeah, I don't like that staircase from that usually means there's a boss of some sort there, and I'm really hoping it's not another Damacy cluster, but it might be. Well, let's give it a go. If all else fails, I can borrow another Arturia. That can't end badly, right? Owls. Huff, huff. There's one more. Two more, apparently. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. My cutie little king of Sarkaz, you've already broken 5 of my pets. Shall I take a guess at how long you'll hold out yet? You gave life to these beings of witchcraft just to use them as expendable tools to hold me back? It did take me a bit of time to create these chimeras. You're so cruel. You go around spreading that rash of empathy out or everywhere, just like Theresa. When she lost to Theresis, the Regent thought it would be a good opportunity to retake the crown, but to our surprise, she had already passed it on to you before she died. Quite the well-conceived plot, even with our eyes and ears. We were unable to detect it before it happened. Were you also fooled by her lies, Doctor? I have no idea what you're talking about. Poor soul, you don't even remember a thing. You desperately serve as King of Sarkaz. Is the former's king manipulation, or is it because you truly love her from the bottom of your heart? That I'm actually able to answer. Enough of your sophistry. My bond with Amia is nothing you can tamper with. His ambition will bring even greater harm to the Sarkaz. Theresa would never allow him to usurp the crown. Such meaningless prattle, my dear rabbit. Just ask anyone on the streets of Kazdale and they'll tell you. For us, the departure of the King of Sarkaz, the gravest disaster. Oh right, spare me what you might say about fairness. The inheritance of the King of Sarkaz has always been filled with accidents, and Theris's actions were no different from what we did. We all sought to make this power easier to control. So it's like that Futurama episode. Next assassin, each one raised to power by assassinating the previous one. King of Sarkaz assassin, and King Sarkaz assassin's assassin. Ah, well, at least my assassin will get what's coming to him. Our regent believed more deeply in the connection between blood and soul. Yes. The pain they're enduring, all these emotions instilled and manipulated by witchcraft. The chimera is lashing out the crystals around it. The originium activity levels are rising. Ah! Amia, the originium activation levels are changing extremely quickly. Doctor, you don't need to worry. I can get accustomed to this compulsorious witchcraft. Over the last few years I've been learning. I remember all the treatment methods Theresa taught me, as well as the instruction I've received from Dr. Calcit. I can feel the connection between me and the King of Sarkaz. It has not left me. Cough, cough. It just hurts a little bit, that's all. Utterly meaningless. Go now. That one is of no value anymore. Owls. The crazed chimera rushes towards you. From Chernobog to Londinium, you've encountered all forms of foes, some of which defied your wildest imagination. But the enemy before you seems like the most formidable of all. Yeah. It's the product of a confessori's manipulation of blood combined with the ultimate embodiment of Sarkaz's physical strength. Solace said the Sarkaz are much stronger than Codice's, but you know that even Amia's body is vastly stronger than yours, and yet you still have an advantage. Something sets you aside from the others, something that makes you one of a kind. Owls. I won't let you. Yeah, the Doctor is from a precursor race that cannot get originium infection. The black lines of the Sarkaz thing run through the chimera in front of you. The claws of another are about to reach it. It's almost time. Take a step back. Crystal clusters are violently multiplying in the position you just stood a moment ago. One after another, like the flowers brought into full bloom by arch, sharp stones tear the ground and the rock wall. The same is also true for the chimera closest. His body crashes to the ground, originium dust kick in every direction, rubbing and colliding, exploding in dazzling gold. Just as calculated, the surrounding originium rocks have reached a critical point of collapse, overcharged by witchcraft's energies. A mist of fine crystals rains down your mask. You gaze upon them, harboring no ill sentiment whatsoever. Originium will never harm you, and deep down you realize this once again. But the same is not true for the others. An instinctive fear swirls in the eyes of both Amia and Solace. Amia approaches you steadfastly, while Solace shows a hint of hesitation. It was in that moment, just one brief moment. Bind. My hands and feet. Banshee. Solace is about to let out a scream, but the ensuing incantation preemptively seals her power. Your voice is grating to the ears. You spend far too much time playing with pelts, while knowing nothing about weaving in a stanza. Amia, it's time. Right, Solace. Black particles no longer revolve around you, but instead form a sharp sword. You cannot help but look at the face of the blue-haired confessorius. Her emotions have almost faded away, as if already having made peace with the imminent fatal blow. So this is it. The King of Sarkaz has a verdict. You... Don't misunderstand. I did everything that I could to try and survive. I failed to recapture the King of Sarkaz, the leader, and made a grave mistake, which is why I was deceived by the cunning pest beside you. For the sake of this life, I shall try to atone my sins. Is that it? You're willing to sacrifice yourself for Qui's plot. He is our father, our progenitor. Disobedience is not an option. I truly hate him, and I hate you too. Why do you choose to resist? Amia, are we not just chimeras implanted with hope? Obstruct. The exploding blood mist is blocked by an invisible force. Shortly afterward, the one that obscured your view dissipates and silence falls over the cave. She got away. She galvanized the blood dripping from her wounds. She would have no means to fully resist my incantation. Such an action will only tear her further apart. As long as Solace is not killed completely, she'll find a way to escape. You heard her say it herself. She sees this life as precious. And where do you think she'll escape to? Her mission's probably to safeguard the blood of Tikaz, is it not? She could not stop us the fake altar, so she would definitely have to return to the real one. The way forward's clear now. Logos, I assume you already left a tracker? I have met your expectations. I understand your plan, Doctor, but it's far too risky. I can't approve what you did. Then, if you try pulling a stunt like that, I'll get angry. I'll keep that in mind, but we don't have the luxury of time. That's right, we'll need to pick up the pace. Calcit stares at an object on the ground. He recognizes the Confessarius mask left by Salis when she fled. We underestimated Kui. Previously, he suddenly appeared before me in Shining, kidnapped Nightingale, and revealed his intent to usurp the King of Sarkaz. He's been lurking in the shadows for thousands of years for this moment. He would certainly not make any rash moves until his goal is accomplished. He wants others to think he was solely after the Black Crown. Snatching the crown is not the end. What does he plan to do with it? The King of Sarkaz is a neutral force. Whether it heralds the arrival of calamity or averts it depends on the wielder, which is most likely why Kui seeks the crown. He wants the authority to be vested with his own hands, touch the secrets passed down by eons, and seek even greater power from the point of origination. Omnanum, the first Originium. Kui, Ducariel, Therasis, while their ultimate goals may be different, they all converge upon the same destination. The Sarkaz have always been deeply influenced by Originium. I fear, however, this influence is being directed on purpose, or that it was uncontrollably penetrating to a deeper level. Ow, I think I'll be fine. Your physical condition has stabilized. Logo says the lingering trace of the Confessarius witchcraft has dissipated. Thank you. You have cracks in at least 3 rings. It's nothing serious, just some battle damage. The rings aren't the problem, Amiya. Since the battle for Command Tower started, don't you think you've been taking too many memories and emotions? Those aren't going away. It's your own psyche that's tearing the rings apart. And no instrument is enough to contain such a torrent of emotions. The rings can't, but I can. I'm not just an instrument. These emotions were forced on me by someone else, yes, but I choose to reach out to them, to experience and feel them. If I said it wasn't painful, that'd be a lie. I don't want to deceive anyone else or myself by acting like the pain doesn't exist, but I've pretty much gotten used to it. It's like wading through a swamp with a heavy load on your back. Amiya, I recommend reinforcing the rings. No, to save even more people, I need more power. I've told you again and again that this is what I wish for. Doctor, how's Amiya doing? Not ideal, but she's managing to stay in control. The solutions we have for all these programs are only problems or stopgaps at best. The feeling of seeing yourself and everything around you sliding into the abyss is no less harrowing than physical illness or pain. I can't change the fact that she's infected. If only I could cure her. Amiya's unwavering. When Her Highness Theresa brought her before us the very first time, she was but a child. I still remember her gaze lingering on the feathers on my horns. How did you react? Even I found myself somewhat shocked. There was no fear in the child's eyes, only a friendly curiosity. I was planning to take a step back like Scout and the others, but Amiya actually came up to approach us herself. That was a time when a good chunk of Babel's core members were Sarkaz. We had horns of all shapes on our heads, some more imposing than others, and there were crystals all over our bodies. I'd seen my fair share of Rimbilliton's Cottis caravans, so I knew that those timid, mild-mannered rabbits often found it difficult to suppress their instinctive fear when it comes face to face with Sarkaz. Maybe that's just her nature, or she had an exceptional upbringing. Amiya showed no sign of distinguishing between the Sarkaz and the others. She naturally treated everyone with kindness, which is why I was not surprised at all when I learned Theresa chose Amiya to be her successor. You're in support. So even though you were a lord of the royal court, you were in support of Amiya inheriting the title of King of Sarkaz. For me, that wasn't even the most difficult part of the decision. Doctor, I just ran into some old friends. Among them was my former Babel comrades, whom I killed with my own hands. Oh, wait, why? After Her Highness Theris's death, a rebellion broke out at Rhodes Island. A number of Babel members refused to give up the war. They and a number of Sarkaz warriors thought we ought to take revenge, return to Kazdal to reclaim power. But the more extreme among them, they wanted to lash out against Calcit or kill Amiya. The team that once belonged to the King of Sarkaz turned away completely from Kazdal. They saw this as despicable theft, unforgivable betrayal, and Dr. Calcit, along with non-Sarkaz members, were seen as the culprits. All of them were warriors who followed Theresa, and used to belong to Babel. Many of them truly believed in Theresa and were willing to lay down their lives for her and Babel's ideals. The man I killed almost lost his life at the hands of the military commission caster. I saved him, only to take his life later on. That must have taken a heavy toll on you. Logos, the Babel member, has already made his choice. After the rebellion, the mercenaries of the Sarkaz pretty much all chose to leave. Among Babel's official rank and file, only a few decided to remain. Babel was no more, and Dr. Calcit forbade anyone from mentioning King of Sarkaz. And what about you? Why'd you stay with Rhode Island? It's true that I did plan to return to the valley following Her Highness's death. Kalsdale lost its king, and nobody could predict its future. As the master of the Elegaic court, I could not run away from my duty to my home. But before I left, Scout pulled me aside to show that he and Misery were throwing a farewell party. I said that drinking was out of the question, and that I didn't want to ruin my new change of clothes, but it turns out they wanted me to help paint. Interesting time to be doing a renovation. They were preparing to change the landship's markings. Outcast was the one who convinced me to take the job. No idea what kind of messed up rumors Closure poured into her head. She said Banshee incantations are magical, and if I were to make the new sign, Rhodes Island would certainly have smooth future voyages, and from that came from a sancta. So you ended up making the sign there? That was Closure's job, actually. I warned my colleagues not to let her slack off. Well, that sounds scary. The work was done in no time. After finishing, we all looked up at the sign together. Ace asked when I was leaving, so I gave 2 dates. The first was when I'd be leaving the landship the very same day. The next was 3 days later, 72 hours, the shortest time needed to make a round trip from the place the landship was docked at to the Valley of Banshees. When Ace heard that, he told Scout to give him 5 days' worth of booze money. Scout wagered I'd be back in the valley for more than a week. As for Misery, he pulled a welcome back ribbon out of his pocket and replaced the farewell banner that he'd originally put up as a joke. Sounds like everyone was having fun. I carry a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and even if I don't want to set any of them down altogether, I still have to pick and choose what I want to prioritize. But I knew from the very beginning I made the right call. Doctor, I've not questioned you since you returned from Chernobog. You have no memories of the past, so why do you choose to remain with Rhodes Island even now? Why are you willing to take these immense risks and dive into the dangers ahead? Lord Banshee, Logos, the robot's head's been blocked. The Doctor and the King would like you to hurry up. A newly formed rift. This is a huge rift, suddenly showed up out of nowhere. The blue-haired Confessarius went through it, so we're definitely on the right track, but now the Originium's reshaping the terrain with increased frequency and severity. I can feel it. I trust you can as well, Amia. The ground is trembling. Sarkaz's emotions are resonating violently from the Originium. The rage is gathering. It shakes the land like a storm. When the blood of Tikaz was used in tandem with Ananum, the battlefield itself became an art circle of colossal proportions. The Originium arts, the rampaging Sarkaz are amplified, and in turn, the increased power promotes the spread of Originium. A similar situation took place thousands of years ago. Sarkaz acquired witchcraft through Originium, and through witchcraft, Ananum was awakened. In the centuries to follow, violent storms flayed the land and great fissures cut through the earth. The Originium almost completed its mission of devouring everything. Did you manage to stop things from getting worse? Oh, that's not something I can do, or should. The war ended before the Originium could completely engulf the land. The Elders, the Ancients, and Sarkaz all suffered losses so grievous they were unable to carry out any more large-scale conquests, at least for the time being. War knows no end. Response to
Us
saturation.
frontline breachers have high standards. Try to keep up.
I'm Feeder. Pleased to beat you.
You lot stay up there if it gets risky. Got my bulbs kitted. Point where I'm cleaning up.
Showtime!
Pusher can at least help deal with this a little.
Point where I'm cleaning. That's as far as you go.
Darn it, I can't keep her alive. Alter Keeper, blockable and has reduced movement speed. Yeah, I'm gonna need,
It's not my wish to take lives. Roar. A word I've not heard in a long, long time. Got my bolts kitted. Thread at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
Oopsie, that's the wrong one.
Point where I'm thread at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon. Alright.
Who will you? My power is all yours now. If you're real clear skies for teaming, rain clouds for blue.
Oh crap, we don't have enough healing for this. And of course, he gets a global. There we go, I got rid of it.
Hear the roar of my chainsaw.
Ah, damn it, that stupid thing up there. Yeah, that's not gonna work. But I think I know what I need to do now. I need to get thorns out here. Alright, let's see if I can do this easier with thorns. F-Eater's fine to stay, but I need to replace someone else. Because pushing the thing into a pit's fine. I guess I don't need Silver Ash. But I do need I need Yado.
Leave it to me, Doctor.
Because I need to kill that stupid undead guy, because he's just gonna sit there and hit everyone at once if I don't. It's probably not gonna be enough, honestly, I don't think.
If we cross any farmland, watch where you step.
To gaze the fire from afar, knowing not its heat.
It's not my wish to take life.
Engaging. Flurry!
Oh, not that one. I've got the wrong... Damn it, I equipped her with the wrong skill. Damn it. This is gonna be a problem.
Yeah, you'll hear from me as needed.
Flourish or perish.
So that's our target? Fight or flee, it's no use!
There we go.
Am I up?
Got my bolts if I'm done rambling in the dark. This battlefield would do well with a splash of ink.
So that's our target? Fight or flee, it's no use!
There we go, killed it.
Standing by.
Damn it, there's no way to kill it in time.
Got my bolts, and that's as far as you go. With the setting of the sun, the brush draws up the peaks.
Shoot.
Standing by.
Come on, I need to charge up F-Eater faster.
Here we go. This is straight
There we
out
go.
of one of my movies.
Ah, damn it! No! I forgot to activate those abilities. I could have won if I had done that. Ah!
Fortune and misfortune are two sides of the same coin. What you have sown is not necessarily wicked, so why lose heart?
Yeah, I know I can do this. I just need to be smart, and I probably should have replaced that. Whatever.
This is gonna be exciting.
My sword's gonna cleave your bodies and values alike.
Excellent.
This is the battlefield.
Flourish or perish.
This battlefield would do well with a splash of ink. Yeah, you'll hear from me as needed.
Engaging. Vital plea is no use!
Got my bolts, thread at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
So that's our flurry!
Oh, damn it!
Standing by.
Okay, phew. That could have been a lot worse.
Too difficult to explain. It will not come to heart.
Your life is mine to protect.
Spring breeze, timely rain.
I'm done rambling in the dark.
So that's our
There we are, got rid of that guy. I think that's the biggest threat down.
Better leave it too difficult to explain. Let me paint it for you.
So that's our
There we are.
If you're real clear,
Shoo, activate your healing assistance.
Thread at my position.
There we go.
Not anymore soon.
Phew, we got it. Hard mode done. The hard mission done. "68 hours into the operation. The smoke and thick fog crush and tear at one another. The deck of the Gastrel is teeming with seeds and withered branches of the Nagirs. 70% of the guns that once breached countless fortresses have now fallen silent. Its teeth almost completely pulled and its talons wetted smooth. The logical next step is for the prey to be dismantled and devoured. However, the Nazir's throne has also been pierced by dozens of chain-ladled fort crackers. With this one move, the god of war could be pulled from his throne. You've proven to me the war marches on. 200 years ago, no Victorian would have even come this far. Ah, I knew, Sarkaz. You're probably not just some decrepit old shadow. You're indeed a threat to this land. Perhaps my warship should have paid you a visit sooner, or after I tore Gaul apart. You would have been afforded no such opportunity. None of you. Confessarius transmission. Yes, yes, in the direction of the blood of Tikaz. The Najari King takes in the entirety of the battlefield. Ugh, sneezed pretty hard. I need to sip my drink. Alrighty. The enemy's trying to halt the storm. This might change the flow of battle, but it's hardly decisive. Even without a catastrophe, his warriors are just as savage, unrelenting. Wellington's a worthy opponent, but the fetters of time soon drag him away. He has no place among the future's wars. The true threat comes from elsewhere. It comes from behind. The resistance of the Confessaris have reminded me this is not the only battlefield. Will you tend to it personally? I've already received the wars promised to me by the military commission, present and future. The Nazirs must also fulfill their pact with the Regent. But before I leave, I must sow some seeds of decay on this battlefield for me to reap upon my return. Decay rises. Upon the battlefield, only the throne remains. Is that Nazir running away? No, in a real war there is no retreat. Wait, General, look at the throne. There's some mist pouring from it. Cough, cough. This is an ordinary mist. It's eating me from the inside. General, your body. Soldier, status report on the Gustral. Damage to the cabins, excess of 60%. Per your previous orders, propulsion capabilities are largely intact. As for weapons, remove anything that's basically unusable and discard it on the spot. Roll out the originium cannons from the lower deck. Oh, but those are already obsolete, but still enough to kill. Yes, sir. Notify the Gastral to retreat to Geo high ground according to the plan and continue to consolidate defenses there. We'll also follow at speed while ordering all current battle lines to fall back. Next we'll send the Sarkaz over to Castor and Godadin to handle. Any news from Shay? The captain and Lady Ablana have captured most of the Nazir altars in this area. Yes, I saw her flames, very vivid. Cough, cough. Medic, no need. General? Heh. A battle with no decisive conclusion will not be my last. Alliance Fleet Commander emergency transmission. 3 minutes left. We should be able to hear gunfire from our current position. Yes, Sir Grace. Wellington's column is not far from ours, ensuring we'll be able to provide mutual support. This battle will determine Victoria's fate. Indeed, if all goes well, then we'll be able to end this meaningless stalemate as quickly as possible. Those eyes truly burn with the lust for battle. You think he has any ulterior motives? For 2 decades, my desk has been filled with intel related to him, along with its response proposals. As of late, these reports have been updating a dozen times a day. The true struggle between the Sark begins after the Sark has been dealt with. But at this moment, Wellington isn't the only one who needs a decisive victory. The time has come. The assault is about to commence, and he has never failed to be punctual. Ah, do you hear that? The Gastral's full broadside. Such a different timber compared to our ships. But after this battle, Castor's name will shine alongside Wellington's in the annals of his military history. Anomaly, anomaly, 0101, repeat 1. Drat, the comms have been cut. Your Grace, all signals from Duke Wellington have vanished. A group of Sark has emerged from the catastrophe and emerged in battle with our engaged with our frontline troops. What the hell is Wellington doing? Acting alone at a time like this? That vainglorious fool? Has he gone senile? Impossible. I do have conjecture, though. Do you think he deceived Castor, or rather everyone? That doesn't make any sense. This is the Iron Duke we're talking about. Why would he abandon other, more easily manipulated dukes to ally with the Sarkaz? It's a game of prisoner's dilemma among the dukes. Ah, I called it. Haha. I'm gonna feel very smug about that. How will the Duke of Windermere, a warrior, treat her foes? As she'd kill them all. Wipe the last speck of their blood across their sea spoils. Before he became first among the Victorian dukes, Wellington had already been leading troops for a decade longer than your mother. As a noble among nobles, Castor was used to everyone playing by the same set of rules. After spending too long seated in the front of the card table, she might have forgotten that some unreasonable people, such as us gangster types, have a penchant for flipping the entire table. Yeah, Castor is definitely good at holding the cards, but those only go so far when an actual fight breaks out. Hypothetically, if the Iron Duke truly saw Victoria as enemies rather than competitors, he'd never even give Castor a single chip to bargain with. Catastrophe. The next wave struck far sooner than any of the messengers predicted. All of our comms are knocked offline. How long for repairs? 15 minutes. No, make it 10. Your Grace. You came back on Wellington's orders. Indeed. You're heavily injured. Who's responsible? Not any of the Iron Duke's men. He lost to the Sarkaz? After the Ganstrel opened fire, the Nazir's advance brigade emerged from the fog. They moved extremely quickly, using already deployed altars to destroy a small warship. Abercorn's infantry had already engaged him for a spell. We expected the Gastrol to aid the ship, but he retreated instead. That's right, the Gastrol's turned back. All of Wellington's other ships are covering the flagship's retreat. Their caster have also changed targets, relying on covering fire from our ships to secure their own vessel's retreat. And what about Abercorn and Astworth's ships? Completely exposed to the Nazir's assault. They expected to show up as support, but now find themselves fighting the enemy head-on. Wellington's ships have completely blocked off the retreat. He's even trying to push Abercorn and the others towards the front lines. It won't be long until the remaining Alliance members are wiped out and become sustenance for the Nazirs. Your Grace, the Alliance forces was dispatched to the heart of battle of collapse, and the Sarkaz will soon be returned to the rear where we're situated. The plan to cut off and encircle the Sarkaz has failed. We're at risk of getting surrounded ourselves. At risk? No, it's already too late. What's enveloping us is much more than the catastrophe. The Nazirs. The signal's back online. We've run into a large contingent of Nazirs. No, it's an entire army. There's another force approaching from the right. Is that a second army? They've already begun fighting. The catastrophe is amplifying the Nazirs' witchcraft. The Originium's response is spiking. Grace, watch yourself. Ooh, that might be a bit of a problem. Troops in the battlefield are still able to receive any feeble signals at all. Simultaneously are sent a staticky message. The Glorious has been confirmed destroyed. Oh dear. Well, we don't care about Castor or the Glorious. All we care about is that stone. Vina remembers the first time she saw a high-speed battleship. It was sitting on her father's desk, a small-scale model, only as long as an adult's forearm. Its crystal flagpole would fall over with just a little poke. Her father pushed her touchy-feely hands away, telling her that high-speed battleships are akin to metallic monsters that conquer the land. They, like the indomitable city of Londinium, were the crowning jewels of Victoria's industrial technology. Alexandrina, when you're older, I'll take you aboard the newest battleship. You'll see for yourself. Many years later, when Vina did in fact see one, it was only upon the battlefield. Be it Windermere's, Castor's, or Wellington's warship, they were so majestic that the people standing beneath were like specks in comparison. At this moment, the broken warship is in the palm of a colossal Originium wave. Before broken in the palm, it seems to have reverted to the tiny toy she played with in her childhood. That Originium wave crushed the Glorious into pieces. My eardrums are still aching. The sound of the warship being destroyed, I doubt there's anyone nearby who didn't hear it. The Duke driving that thing is dead, just like that. Hey, Dagda, you better not shoot yourself. You're the one whose hands are shaking. You've been quiet this whole time, Dagda. What's on your mind? They made an example of the Duke of Castor at this critical juncture. The Sarkaz intentions are all too clear. Well, that might be a warning. No, it's a message. A message the Sarkaz are about to launch an all-out assault attack. Inform our comrades to prepare. Duke of Castor is not dead. Horn, our morale is completely shot right now. That was quite the commotion right now, and nobody's ever seen anything like that, including us. Oh, but the captain's already sent out a bunch of old vets to tag along with you and calm the fresh greens. Oh, it looks like it's been working out. Bagpipe, don't hold them to our standards, even if you're just doing it subconsciously. The exemplars happen to be a particularly special case. Oi, got a captain. Horn, you just said the Duke of Castor is still alive. You seem quite certain about that. Take a look. The muzzles of the Glorious' cans have been locked on since the very beginning. Huh? There might be countless criticisms about Victoria's Grand Dukes, but holding that position for decades is no easy feat. Since the Glorious had not ceased its resistance, that means the Duke of Castor has not perished. As for the actual situation, maybe that's something a Trilby Asher can clear up for us. He left the moment the Glorious started running trouble. He might be in the vicinity trying to get into contact to figure out what's actually going on, but from what he's told us, the Stone of the Sword is also right there. Siege, what's our next move? We just head back from the outpost. The Glorious has been completely surrounded by the Royal Court's blitz, and the Duke of Wellington suddenly withdrew his forces. The situation in the surrounding area is rapidly deteriorated. Bean, I'm afraid we'll have to halt our march at once.
Once painting and war were quite different. But with this power, battle is art.
Ah, this is another tutorial area. Interesting. So we're gonna get another thing here. Oh, or is this a story node? Ooh, I like the story event nodes. Having the story play out with gameplay really adds to the whole thing, I think. At least I think so. All hands, you are not to change your route without authorization. Pass through the gas trolls covering bombardment area post haste. Cover the general's return of the ship. Shells rain down on both sides of the mobile force. It's moving at full speed. Smoke obscures the whereabouts. Withering artillery fire crushes the Sarkaz troops collapsing upon them. Wait, 200 meters ahead. I found something strange belonging to the Nagirs. The aura from the throne. It seems to be letting those devils replenish their ranks faster. They're closing in fast. They're trying to intercept us. General, do we need the flank guard to be a diversion? No. Commander, we're... Run them over. Yes, sir. Labored gasps. Amid the smoke, silent figures in white robes raise their long swords, sundering the artillery fire among them. They disappear in the plumes of smoke and dust kicked up by the explosions. Prepare to intercept the enemy. 5, 4, 3, 2. Don't disappoint me. 1. The skies are raining fire. Not all death is alike, Sarkaz. Purple flames wreath the Duke of Wellington's entire mobile unit, and a rising pillar of flames carves out a completely safe domain on the battlefield, a sanctuary brought by the flames of death. You've more than proven your trustworthiness, Lady Oblana. And I, too, admire your duel against death. However, your injuries are still severe, and the Nagir's deathly aura eats away at your body. Your uniform may hide your injuries, but not from me. Take my hand, Your Grace. You should not be riding these rickety vehicles. Allow me to personally escort you back. The Gastro. It's only a flesh wound. The Duke, who has overcome death, ignores the Draco's outstretched hand, his body remaining upright with the help of his cane. Pain, a little more than that. Lady Oblana, your flames still burn a bit too hot. Make an opening this wall of flame, and I will lead the way. Don't worry, this cane has accompanied me through far more dreadful battlefields. I'll stand atop the Gastrol's bow and await Victoria's call for help. As you wish, my ever-faithful lord. If your body can no longer sustain your ambition, then I shall rekindle your heart with flames. Even death shall be no obstacle for your march forward. We are Tara. We stand upon the most glorious place in this land. Together, we shall set the battlefield alight. Warning, warning. Damage to the hull is in excess of 65%. Navigation systems offline. Propulsion systems offline. Activate backup power supply. The engine room's been damaged, and there's been serious leakage of originium fuel. At 2:34, when the Frederick was struck by 3 witchcraft shells simultaneously, paralyzing its propulsion system. The combat zone is heavily contaminated by witchcraft. The 3 supporting frigates are unable to approach, and currently dispatching infantry. The 2nd defensive line has incurred a fierce assault, and the 9th Battalion is currently holding back the Najir infantry. Lieutenant Blake and Major Morning have been slain. Captain Seymour is currently in command. The Excelsior is discovered an approaching squad of Najir casters. We've lost contact with the Intrepid, and no specific coordinates identified. Duke Gododin's 3 dreadnoughts are approaching full speed to provide support. Duke Abercorn and Ashworth's assault battleships are also responding to the call for help. Originium activity is so rampant that it's off the charts. What the hell is that? Is that Originium eating our ship? Your Grace, this situation is changing extremely quickly. The surviving Trilby Ashers have been sent out, and the news they brought back is being compiled here. Our men are dying out there, and the Nagirs are turning the entire battlefield to a meat grinder. How many of us are still left? Less than a third. Your Grace should retreat. Our flagship still retains its defensive capabilities. Even in this condition, it should at least be able to clear a way back for you. I can't leave. Aileen, spread the word that I'll be staying on the Glory. Use whatever means you have at your disposal. If I abandon the front line here, the defensive line will inevitably be routed. Victory will be yet another step away from Victoria. What would the soldiers think of us? That yet another Duke has abandoned them? When this battle's over, the soldiers must remember the price I paid for this victory. I will continue to draw the Najir's fire. The other Dukes will surely come to my aid. They understand exactly what is and is not important at this current moment. Besides, my elite forces are still here. You are all the forces I need. Nothing more needs to be said. Watch out, Your Grace. We'll start by clearing this cabin. Our march towards victory begins from the stronghold. Your Grace, as you command, then we shall get our hands on the side of King. We must get our hands on the side of Kings. The stone and the sword is still here, undamaged. This is our best opportunity. Is the Trilby Ashers been in contact with our lovely Venus still alive? Our communication channels are back online now. Excellent. Get in touch with him. I have new orders for him. There's no end to them. Shells, where are the shells? Clark! Dead, they're all dead. Vina, I've rescued another soldier. The enemy lineup is gonna be hard to handle. I sure want to keep pushing forward. Activating the Realm Blade is the best option for turning the tides of battle. We've come this far. This is something only we can do. Who are you? We're the Exemplars. Cough, the Exemplars. Use our head, soldier. Don't charge right into the enemy. So much blood. Or apathy. And the suppressants. Damn it, we ran out a while ago. Hang in there and don't move. There's a chance the crystals will puncture your lungs. It doesn't matter anymore. What? Doctor. Sir, just about all of our men are dead. Clark was the second to last one. See that hand by your feet? That's all that's left of him. What can I do? Your name? Patel, Richard Patel. Private Patel, from your badge, I see you were assigned to the 9th Battalion Armored Corps, and your commanding officer was Colonel Blake. If I recall correctly, your company's mission is to protect Castor's flagship. Flagship, who are you? Where are you from? Delphine, from the Exemplars. I'm just like you. I despise those enemies. They took everything from me. But I still remember my mission, and I'm here to aid you, Private. Aid me. Duke Windermere's dead. I don't know if our esteemed Duke is even still with us. And then there's the Iron Duke, that bloody codger. Wellington. He deserted the battlefield. What are you people doing here? What hope do we have for victory? Delphine subconsciously glances at Vina, who stands not far away from the Side King strapped to her back. Even if the Grand Dukes give up, we will not. Is that so, huh? He's not gonna last much longer. Hurry and spread out. He could implode. We won't have time to deal with him. Delphine sees the soldiers' bloodshot eyes, their determination and desire. Listen up, Exemplars. The contingent of Najir is up ahead. Put me into the tank over there. Wait, Delphine, don't get near him. Very well. Allow me to help you, Private. If this is your last wish. Thank you. Dang, the guy wants to go out like a champ. The battered tank hurtles towards the Sarkaz troops. Many of the Exemplars have no idea what's going on until they heard the one last battle cry an ordinary soldier gave using his life. We will record all you've accomplished here today. Each and every member of the Duke Castor's 9th Battalion Armored Corps was a good soldier, ready to defend the glorious and victorious herself with their lives. What's going on here? The dead are standing up? No, it's not the dead they're standing. Withered branches. Twigs sprout from the fallen bodies of the Najir warriors, extending every direction, burrowing back towards the fog where the scarlet of rot and decay is the strongest. A figure rises and quickly approaches. Get back, Delphine! Dull growl. Ugh. Luckily, it'll take more than that to kill me off. If we die here, our lives will get sucked up by the Najir altars and we'll turn into their food. Does that mean Private Patel's last wish was in vain? Those enemies cannot be defeated by death? No, Delphine, he was able to slay the squad of Najirs. However, the monster is clearly weakened, trying to fend off death. Take advantage of this opportunity to destroy it. I'll cover you. Bagpipe, mark my flank. Private Patel's wish was not in vain. We'll charge out, going through the opening he created. Everyone, move it. Blonde is not to be trusted, but her ability to prevent the dead from being used by the Najirs with her own death magic is essential to keeping them from getting uncontrollable. Like I said, I like to compare them to zombies simply because they are able to grow in power and number and power so easily. Don't hesitate. Slow for a second, the whole situation might spiral out of control. What are you still standing there for? Don't tell me you're choosing now of all times to get cold feet. Getting cold feet? No, I just need to stay behind to fulfill my duty. Your Highness Alexandrina, please don't glare at me. I really do have urgent business to attend to. The Duke has just given me her latest orders. The deal's off. You're to evacuate with the Side Kings and wait her further instructions. You'll not be able to reach the Stone of the Sword. This key must not fall into Sarkaz's hands. If necessary, special measures can be employed to ensure the safety of the Side Kings. How did I see this coming? There's no need to be wary of me. I've been completely forthcoming when it comes to the Duke's orders. I know you're loath to abandon your quest, but count me in. Huh? My highest priority remains to ensure the safety of the Duke. But at times like this, where am I supposed to find allies more trustworthy than the Exemplars? Your Duke's not going to be happy with this decision. Would you look at that? We've already switched sides. Look at this way. I'm outnumbered here, and I don't have any way of dealing with all of you. Go, Your Royal Highness. I hope your plan is a complete one. Don't worry, my dear aunt won't have anything to worry about. I know what I have to do. Vina's plans are never complicated, and this has proven surprisingly effective in the chaotic battlefield. Everyone in the Exemplars knows exactly what they're fighting for. Now, no matter how the war forces them apart, in the end, those who survive will be gathered to lift the glass of victory. The plan is straightforward. Delphine, you're in charge of commanding from the periphery and pinning down the Sarkaz laying siege to the Glorious. Chip away at them, avoid direct engagements. Can you still walk? I don't think so. Then grab onto my back. I've moved you to safety. Well, there's nowhere that's safe anymore. Let's get behind the piece of destroyed warship. Hide behind there for the time being. Don't worry about us. Right now, the Side Kings takes highest priority. Don't be daft. Vina's team knows what they're doing. Our mission right now is to contain the enemy and siphon off some of the firepower. Lieutenant, I need medical assistance over here. Roger. Alright, Fitz, where are you from? Eastham. I've been there before. We've got good leather. There's an open wound in the leg with a visible puncturing. Stop the bleeding. Do you have pain anywhere else other than the wound? No, I'm just a bit tired, that's all. Do you have anywhere on your mind right now, Fitz? Bear, anyone on your mind? Fitz from across the street, he still owes me. Oh, don't say it. Keep repeating your heart, repeating yourself over and over. Then get back home alive and tell him yourself. Patient's conscious with no fractures, internal bleeding, or acute infection. Alright, the wound's been cleaned. I'll now bandage it and apply anti-inflammatories. You should be safe with some rest. You did well, Define. Lieutenant, did you ever think about wanting to rewind time to the day our ship was raided? If we can win, sure. I'm of the same mind. Because of my mistakes, my incompetence, we were miserably defeated by the Sarkaz. I don't want that to happen again today. Lieutenant, please take Fritz back. I'm needed here. What about us, Vina? Travel lightly. Quickly break through the encirclement to go over the pedestal. Horn, bagpipe, we're counting to cover our flank. You heard that. Hannah, Morgan, Dagda, we're going to charge forward and never look back. Sounds like we're rushing straight in the fight for our lives. I'm getting excited already. Shut it, Hannah. This bunker's not going to hold. Where's the location of the next one? The strange man that had already found it. Keep our eyes peeled for the signal. The soldiers up there are Castor's guard. We're almost there. Bombardment's thinning out. Delphine's forces have managed to draw away a large chunk of firepower. I can see the pedestal clearly. Get down. Hold on, that attack now wasn't from the Sarkaz. Captain, it's the Glorious. The Glorious has noticed us. The guns are clearly clearing the way for us. Pounce on it. Press onward. They continue to charge the Tempest where the artillery fire converges to where the enemies are. Hammer smashes into bone and swords cleave through flesh. Those standing shoulder to shoulder are getting heavier injuries, yet they no longer bother to wipe blood from their faces. They continue pressing forward. No matter how perilous, they never stop. The Glorious is right in front of them, and Vina can already hear the roar of battle coming from above. Hold on a bit longer. We're about to burst through. Indistinct Sarkaz languages. You shall not pass. Wait, what's going on? I lost some sensation in my arm holding the hammer. Vina, the Sigh of Kings has been knocked flying after it. The sword, but I had it on my back. Death. The final end. Damn it, Vina, stand up. Help her, bagpipe. Cover my back. I need to reload. I can't block the blades. Bloody hell, why can't I run any faster? The dark shadow. Something's approaching me. Vina. Victoria. 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 Vina could never forget that voice, even if she could no longer make out all the information it contains, but her intuition tells her it's a name associated with her entire life. The ground shatters, along with it 3 mobile altars. White vapor erupts and a fiery blade emerges. A steam knight. A steam knight stands with us. Remember, steam knights were among the very few things that were the only thing that, that Patriot was unable to stop. They were the only ones able to fend him off. Well, before us, obviously. Victorian's glories return. He stands with us. Follow him into battle. Slay them. Slay everlast Sarkaz. Glory to Victoria. Muffled and gushing. Slash, pierce, charge. The suit of armor fights valiantly and ferociously. The path behind him is littered with Sarkaz corpses and the fragments of shattered altars. Witchcraft missiles fell at his feet, and crossbow bolts fly towards him. Blades slash his body, but he never stops. He cleaves apart the next enemy, sweeping them away, along with any traces left on him. The Steam Knight still lives. That's right, we saw him in the city. But why is he here now? He came for the sword. Vina, I can still fight, but the sword's gone. I see the Sigh of Kings. It's lying atop a pile of bodies in the combat zone. I shall retrieve it for you. Just as you said, pounce on it and press onward. Don't look back. I promise you, the sword will appear when it's needed. Vina, I'll keep going. Cover me. She clenches the hammer, shrugging off all doubt and hesitation. She's placed her trust not just in her partners, but also the people whom she had never trusted before. No, she places her trust in all of Victoria, the Victoria she believes in. Run faster, almost there. Ah, don't force it. Get hit again and you're a goner. The mobile altar. It stopped. Then who fired the shot? One of our own tanks? Vena, we're connected to the Duke of Fife's suit of armor. We've also located Captain Seymour. He's still alive. More troops are on the way. We'll handle those at the altar that are flying around. Great news. Let's keep going. Don't you dare get in our way. We've used up the last of our ammunition, and that means it's going to come down to some good old QCQ, close quarters combat. Roger that, Captain. Pretty nostalgic, right? Reminds me of our academy days. Let's see how the Sarkaz like our technique. Let them try to get past us. The stone sword's right ahead of the corrosive fog. Your Royal Highness, my colleagues have secured the Glorious. Cough. Next time our cooperation's needed, the Exemplars will hear from the Trilby once more. Fine, allow me to use my Originium arts as well as a bit of authority to light your way. A ray of green cuts through the dense fog of decay. Deep within the storm, the stone of the sword radiates with light. Oh, right, the sword. After thinking this through, one should really not disobey the Duke's orders. But I also made a promise to your Royal Highness. That's quite a pickle. Alright then, catch. The silver light streaks across, piercing the fog. The Sigh of King is a blade so common it does not attract the attention of the soldiers on either side. I got it. Don't turn back now, Sage. This is the final stretch. Don't worry about me, Captain. Go with them. Storm rises from the battlefield, but the White Wolf has already leapt up. Dang, I love this key art that's going through here. Aim, fire, a procedure she knows by heart. Take it, Sage! A long sword in her left hand cutting through the air as countless eyes follow its path. Vina never looks back. She simply continues running, carefully listening to every last sound. Swoosh. The sharp object, sound of metal vibrating through the air, cut apart by the sound of air being cut by a sharp object. She forcefully throws down the hammer in her hands. Its massive head lodges in the cliff's side, creating a tiny foothold for her. She steps on it and leaps. As she extends her hand, the Sigh of King has already found its way to her palm. Endra, Morgan, remember how we used to chuck Molotov cocktails down the chimneys of nobles? Oh yeah, it's down on each other's shoulders. This time I'll be running ahead first. The Originium beneath her feet feel like alive, unlike any wall or mountain she's ever traversed before. How much further? How much further till the dark clouds disperse and the war draws its last breath? She fled Londinium to the land beyond its walls, and from there she returned. How much further must she go before she returns to her peaceful homeland? The people she loves? Vina does not know, but at the very least the stone of the sword is right before her eyes. She extricates her hammer with all her might. She knows what she must do. She leaps up, hammer and sword in her hands, glimmering in the sunlight. From the light. Oh yeah, there's a fight in this, isn't she? Isn't there?
Oi! Are you ready?
Oh wow, Morgan has a completely terrible skill equipped for what she's doing here.
You wanna topple me? By what?
Oh, that's a problem, isn't it? Sark has a coming siege.
The Tempest must wipe out all that blocks the way. My rule is to balance your lives hanging.
You bastard!
Oh boy, the big shield fellas. Those are such a pain in the ass. I swear, you basically... I'm sure there's a gimmick to them that I've forgotten somehow, but they didn't have one listed.
Nothing can stop me.
Uh-oh. That's just gonna eat through my army. Yeah, it's dealing a ton of damage. There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm gonna lose the entire Glasgow gang and bagpipe. Oh no. Bagpipe! All hands. We've almost reached the stone of the sword. Heavy gush.
My weapon chooses its worthy meal.
It's him, to the bitter end, fires several volleys in 9 area up front. Dang, that's amazing stat one. Wow, and he's only level 1. Imagine what would happen if they leveled him up any. Mina, don't hesitate. Right now we have a chance. The only one we'll get. Siege leaps up. The edge of the stone of the sword cut through her palm and slip away. The Originium mountain quakes, almost flinging her from it. Just one step further, one more miracle. The knight who was Victoria never forgot his duty. He streaked across the sky, picking up the golden lion who held the realm blade. A dull sound came from the bloodied suit of armor. Glorious. Victoria! The stone lies just ahead. The waves of originium rise and fall. Countless crystal shards surround her. But the one in the eye of the storm will not waver. Not anymore. For the Glasgow gang! For Londinium! For all who have died! And for all who live! The golden lion roars the storm. The Sigh of Kings plunges down. Ooh, thanks for the follow, Moni. I stream just about anything, so feel free to stop by whenever something gets your eye. Sword. There's an explosion of golden light. It falls on the crystals and on her, shining towards heaven and earth. The golden radiance pierces the red demonic eye, tearing a hole in the curtain of death above. She has blinded the eye of Sauron. A miracle has happened, and a legend has returned. The hero's sword cleaved through the catastrophe, bringing golden hope that fell upon every Victorian on the battlefield. Well, near the end of this particular part, this is only Londinium will yield to no storm. As long as they have the Sigh of Kings, there is no foe they cannot overcome. Victoria! Victoria! The exemplars. Yeah, this is only 9, but one of the things requires part 23 to unlock, so I'm still a ways away. The cries lift up the great wave, lifting up the exhausted hero. Siege looks up at the Sigh of Kings. Sword in its stone looks entirely ordinary, as if it was no more than a key. She knows now more than ever that the sword has never granted anyone power, nor has she suddenly become one of the heroes of legend. That's awesome. She stands here now because of the countless eyes that have witnessed her and the countless hands that have lifted her up. Oh dang. Unfortunately, I want Siege Altar, so I have to gather all my courage and skip this banner.
Come, best me if you can.
Everyone's back. Everyone's alive again. Right, and since Morgan was redeployed, her skill 2 activates again.
Come, best me if you can.
And there we go. You. A legend is bestowed by the people. The miracle you hold already existed before Lugalzaris and I met. In the depths of the Golden Sands, explorers who should have been devoured by catastrophes found a safe haven because of this relic. The relic was forged in the treasure blade, and I carried it along with the young Shah into the endless sands. I still remember what he said as he rested against my mane beneath the stars. It shall have a name, but its name is not mine to give. Okay, I do recommend Violet. Yeah, I know. I borrowed a friend's W altar for the IS, and she kind of sold the whole thing. So it's a bit painful to give up, but it's for the sake of Siege Altar, I must endure. At least Logos is main pool, so I can theoretically he'll come around eventually. Worst case scenario, he'll be in the shop in a year or so, so I can buy him then if all else fails. I guess we'll see. Everything one step at a time. Shall have a name, but the name's not mine to give. Then, as legends go, he took up the blade and slew the poltergeist king. He never returned. Nobody in the land was worthy of giving the sword a name, but the legend was nonetheless born. The hero's sword. It passed through the hands of many kings, until at long last the lion with hair as bright as the sun used it to sever the red dragon's head. That story you're already familiar with, Vina. Beneath the gleaming blade, the lion and dragon ultimately stood side by side and swore an oath to lift the crown together. Alas, the hero's sword would slay no more, but instead would be guarded as the highest authority. It has endured loss and betrayal, yet its brilliance and the symbol of authority has never dimmed. And as Zargus said, you have all sung of it from generation to generation using the name it was given, the Sigh of Kings. No matter how many times it's reforged, craftsmen will always be able to hear the sighs from within the sword. They say it's the kings sighing, lamenting the glorious empire no longer has enemies worth conquering. But it was never the kings who were sighing, but rather the blade itself, a miracle dug out of the golden sands more than a millennium ago. Still, they had the right to give meaning to the sword. Vina, legends are never told by the heroes themselves, but you continued its story. Perhaps in 20 years, children will sing. Yeah, and given what the Doctor and Calcit spoke about, it's entirely possible the material the sword is forged from is yet another precursor artifact from the civilization the Doctor and the Priestess are from. Alexandrina, the Sword of Victoria, the king who banished the Sarkaz tyrant. But is this the story you want to hear, and by whose right do you wield the sword? The kings, the heroes, the peoples? Gawain. Gotcha, Vina. You did it, Vina. The enemy forces encircling the Glorious are retreating before the Duke's forces. Vina, hang in there. We'll catch up to you soon enough. The other Duke's troops have heard news of Duke of Castor and are now willing to work together with these exemplars. At least this settled before fighting in Gulf Londinium. Waves of cheering pour through the communicator, each louder than the last. But the battle still continues. The Sigh of King is sheathed within the stone of the sword. This is not the end, but merely a beginning. Steam Knight is helping us? No, I'd say he only came for the Realm Blade. Well, he helped to get the blade to its rightful location. Seize's gaze falls on the devastated battlefield where the Steam Knight went on its warpath. She looks at the other shadow, but it's nowhere to be found. Siege grips her hammer tightly as stands before her companions, just like she had done many times before. Let's continue the fight until the moment of victory actually arrives. Yeah, we have to remember, all this did is dispel the Originium catastrophe that was giving the Sarkaz their home field advantage. By removing it, they no longer have their advantage, but the fight's not over yet. The Realm Blade is now active. Looking up from here, the golden pillar of light is truly breathtaking. 2 decades ago, I first saw the prototype of our stone the sword in the workshop. I've been waiting for this moment ever since. The light that sunders the catastrophe is no longer myth or a heroic tale in alleyways. Can you envision it? Beneath the shade of this light, our people no longer need to live in fear of catastrophe. Our city will be eternally glorious. Back then, nobody could have imagined it would ever be used for this purpose. That it would be used in a war started by those barbaric devils in a ravaged land outside of Londinium's gates. And it was done by the hands of my dear brother's orphan, with the aid of the exemplars. For decades, the pedestal's been integral to our strategy in Victoria. What should come of the Castor's triumph is now part of the legacy of the former king's heirs. Your Grace, we are so sorry for betraying your expectations. You call betrayal? No, the Glorious was saved and Victoria was saved. What is there for me to be disappointed about? The miracle blooming on the battlefield, I can even hear my own guards whispering those words. I believe your Sir Suffolk would share the same opinion, no? That poet should be acting in accordance with military protocol and retreating with the Realm Blade. I'll make sure of this. There's no rush. Whether this dereliction of duty or a show of loyalty, I shall decide for myself later. What's happened, and there's no need to worry about the Realm Blade's fate for now. At least, it isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Connect to the Exemplar's internal communication channel. Use the Alliance line. Your Grace, there's a risk of being tapped. Talk less and do your job. Very well. Whose communication frequency is this? I didn't turn it on. Well done, Exemplars. Oh, well, stuff me silly. Your Grace, I thought you'd at least want to meet me in person. Indeed, arrangements for that meeting have already been made, but after the Realm Blade's activation, any intel on the battlefield flowed to me once again. Opportunities on the battlefield are fleeting, and I was too preoccupied to make use of it. Siege, what you've accomplished here is nothing short of a miracle. I'll reevaluate the role the Exemplars could play in this war. With all due respect, I do not recall opening our communication channel lines to you. As of right now, I assume you're open to all of Victoria's alliance forces. They will begin counterattack by retaking Silver Rock. Are the Exemplars willing to work with us to create this miracle? Under the banner of the Dukes? No, the Exemplars cannot and will not be affiliated with the ducal forces. This much I will assure you. You must operate as a heroic independent unit. Alexandrina, you will come to know what the Exemplars truly mean to Victoria. For now, we undoubtedly stand on the same side. Take count of your troops. It's time to go. That golden light. The sigh of King has taken effect. Siege and the Exemplars have done it. The situation on the battlefield will finally stabilize. No longer afflicted by extreme orogenium-dense environment, Victoria's forces will be free to display their full potential. The military commission's defeat on the main battlefield is inevitable. Even if there are still disputes among the dukes, the overall strength and sustained combat of the Victorian army far eclipses what the Sarkaz can muster. Additionally, Victoria has just enjoyed a massive morale boost. It won't be long until the scales of victory tip towards Victoria again. Yes. Amiya, Therasis must have foreseen this when he decided to start this war and fill the trenches with a foreign land with Sarkaz lives. I know, Dr. Calcit, but the more this happens, the more I find myself thinking, what kind of future are they hoping for with so many people thrown away for nothing? Whatever that might be. Calcit looks in the crimson sky. The storm is not completely halted. The orogenium dust swirling the inverted airflow is only temporarily driven back by the sigh of Kings that now rages even more violently than before. Perhaps they all feel the same way, exhausted just from trying to avert the advent of disaster. We are only one step from the abyss. Return from whence you came. On the other side of the canyon is that crystal cluster growing. Logos. No matter how many tricks they have up their sleeves, they cannot conceal the blood. I have removed the Confessarius' illusions. Once we go over there, we'll find the real deal altar. The truth is within reach. However, the shadow is also approaching. It's cold, way too cold. You feel the temperature abruptly change again. Before you know it, you're surrounded by a thick swamp-like fog. Sudaram, how are there this many? This is the Najir's last line of defense in front of the true altar. This is where Nesalam intends to stop us. He does not want us to get any closer. The lament of the dead fills the air on the battlefield. The Najir's power is almost at its very peak. I have seen the dark clouds of death hanging on the horizon. If the scorching sun no longer shines, I shall cast the light that pierces the fog here. We will cross over the other side, find solace, destroy the blood of Tikaz. May the wails of the dead find some... Logos lifts his hand and points to the other side of the canyon. The congealing mist parts once more. Fairy. Brief yet powerful, Logos seems to be able to describing a physical action, uttering an incantation at once. Orogenium crystals surge like waves in front of you, stretching all the way to the other side of the canyon until they form a narrow but stable bridge. The Najir King will come for us, and someone has to hold him back. I will stay behind. Logos, just you alone? Amiya, do you still have the package I left with you? Please give it back to me. Oh, of course, but... Good. With this, there will not be any problems. Now go. Death is pursuing you. You run with all your might. Maybe it's Amiya who's pulling you, Monster who's dragging you, or Logos who's pushing you ahead with his incantation. You hardly even feel that your feet touching the ground, but it's as if 1,000 bony hands are growing from the mist, trying to latch to your ankles. But the aura of decay fails to reach you. A formless barrier envelops your body, keeping the haze at bay. You know Logos' incantation's taking effect. At this moment, the Banshee's curse feels gentle and warm. You must have an anti-undead tool with that device. You feel something collapsing and look in its direction. The bridge disappeared just as quickly and cleanly as it appeared. The thick fog is once again there. You search for the familiar figure, but perhaps he's too far, or perhaps the fog's too thick. You cannot see anything at all. Is Logos in danger? Doctor, this is the decision a lead operator Logos has made. He has the right to make his own tactical judgments based on the situation. He believes it would be most beneficial for us to head to the real altar while he faces the Najirs head-on. Answer me, Doctor. Do you trust him? Do you trust elite operator Logos? Yes. Then you should also trust he will regroup with us when we are in need. He always has a flair for the dramatic. I'm sure he'll be there rather quickly. I understand your desires, Scion of Decay, but death should not be so cacophonous. Quiet. The whistle pierces through the thick fog, an incantation spreading in ripples. Nothing needs to be spoken, nothing needs to be written. The concealed dead have nowhere to hide. The Sudaram's piercing shriek forms into a long sword that shuttles through the fog. The words from the whistle quiver, and the Banshee's song resounds. Within the ancient bloodlines of Sarkaz, in a valley choked with orogenium, amidst the lamentations of countless people who have fallen in battle, flaming shells and witchcraft-imbued rounds intertwine with the skies above the battlefield. A high-speed battleship crashes in the witchcraft bastion. A small number of Victorian soldiers charge head-first into a squad of Najirs. The song grows louder and clearer. When that song reaches its climax, the Najir soldiers fall into silence and stop attacking, one after another, like motionless flags. They no longer hunt. At long last, death has returned to the land. War has come to answer your song. The withered branches retreat in unison. They coil, lie down, returning once more to the long-deceased forms. The most hideous and ancient among them still seems to be struggling unwittingly, finally twisting into a scepter. The tip of the scepter strikes the ground, a figure emerges from the depths of the fog. The Najir King. Efaniel, master of the Elegaic court. You chose to stay behind and face me alone. The corners of his clothes flutter as the fog disperses. The suitor in his long robes are scattered across the dense hills of withered branches. Long swords lie fallen shattered, or like grass in a forest. The young banshee sits sideways atop the hill, while his bloodstained fingers plucking at the bone whistle in front of his lips. Gentle, melodious. Ah, he's finally in his operator costume. No, Neslim, there is no such master here. Only Logos, elite operator of Rhodes Island, dressed to greet our guest. I've crafted this opus upon death's motif, and I dedicate it to you. I was gonna say, is this a story one, but no, this is a proper one. It's just Logos is here to help. Putrefied, pseudo attack is greatly increased. Continuously deals true damage to units on it and greatly reduces their SP recovery. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot more powerful healing than this. Shining's not bad, but let's bring Lumen.
Don't worry, Doctor. I'll catch up to the others.
Ray is hands down my most powerful nuke along with Kirin Yato here. Although for this one I might actually want to bring Silver Ash for his cooldown reduction.
We all have our
And I could bring
roles to
Yato up
play.
here.
Use my abilities as best you see fit.
I am not holding back because I know the game is not.
It's in my hands now.
That's also why I have my Shu Exodia setup. A little cheap, but not nearly as cheap as if I'd brought Wiz. All the eye can see is death, endless killing, life takes life, fields and corpses soaked in blood. The first Najir learned his purpose when he rose from the ashes of battle. I am the end of all things. Penetrate. The incantation pierces the Najir like a lance. It happens so fast it's almost impossible to see its trajectory, as though it had taken effect by the time the words left his lips. A smooth hole appears in the Najilim's chest. There's no change in his expression. Withered branches reach down from his staff, reach the hole, and fill the gap. How could this be? In this battle alone, the young Banshee has casted dozens of arts that were not of Sarkaz's origin. Ravel, the greatest master of Gaul. His life work made the guns of Gaul ships mighty, and he is famous in all the nations, for the Witch King made his own name known throughout the land. In that war, there was an instant where the ships of Gaul ripped apart like the death of a sharp sword before death swallowed them. Why do I see a shadow of him in your arts? Your words can't kill me. The voice that calls to me is louder than your incantations, by far. Let me grab a sip of my drink here. My understanding is that this story chapter has the highest word count of all events and story chapters so far, and I believe it. It's really long, even longer than Lone Trail. But the good news is it's making use of the time. It's not just, you know, Calcit droning on and on. I mean, it has some of that, but you get what I mean. The voice that calls me louder. Yes, I can hear it. The dirge of the fallen echoes within you. Thousands of war altars spread across the battlefield. They absorb what life leaves, and when it dies, the culmination of power stands before Logos, the most powerful Najir and the most terrible war altar, all in one. Najir has witnessed death, We all take in who are brave, friend or foe. In the endless cycle of life and death, they will be remembered and honored. Cowards deserve only dust. Tell me, my foe, is it a young hero who stands before me, or a despicable traitor? Your judgment does not interest me. It is not where the power words lie. Logos once again gathers power in his palm. A second wound appears, stretching from shoulder to chest. The incantation does not dissipate. It fends off the branches trying to close in, and it prevents the energies of the dead from repairing the Najir's body. Shredded clothing rises and falls, covering a new wound, countless old scars. What is this? Death may feed the Najir, but the Banshee can put death itself to rest. You are no longer the sole master of war in Najshalim. You're more gifted in incantation than any Banshee I know. Oh, La Carmeline included. I believe that's actually his mom he's naming. A shame, though. Why do you not sing for the dead if you truly mourn them? Elegy cannot actually put the dead to rest. Neither the living nor the dead will find true rest as long as war continues. Preposterous. You vanquished the Damazi and banished the vampire. You, as sovereign of the royal court, have royal court blood in your veins. You dare say this is all because you're avoiding war? Is your rebellion the only reason you're standing in the way? The Najir floats up in fury. The branches underneath him disintegrate and decay fills the canyon. The Banshee's chanting does not give ground. Born in death, fueled by war and nourishing death, the life of Najir is war itself. Cities and kingdoms rise and fall, but the faith of the Najir never changes. Once a Najir clan, tired of the cycle, puts down their swords and staves and went to the depths of the wastes far from civilization. Their powers declined rapidly in peace, and they soon became prey for others, fading away in a forgotten corner of the land. There's no other way to ensure the continued existence of the Najirs. The great walk of war sits above our heads in the slopes of time. All we can do is push it with all of our strength. Such a cycles continue for thousands of years until... we promise a war, Najir King, about the future and nothing else. My best students, the young twin warriors, I taught them the laws of war. They stood before me and told me we can end the monotony and break a rigid cycle. We can push the rock to the top of the mountain and build a splendid palace with it. This war will be my blaze of glory. It must not end here. That was a long time ago. Now a young Banshee stands before me. How could they be so alike? I fought alongside La Carmeline for decades. Across cities and plains, we buried the armor of Victoria and the guns of Gaul beneath the walls of Casdel together. In the same battle, I helped Theresa take the heads of some Lithanian casters. They were the heroes of Casdel, its greatest warriors. La Carmeline entrusted you with the future of the Banshees. Theresa considered you one of her best students, but you hid at Rhodes Island, the shelter of the King of Sarkaz, and sneaked into Londinium like a thief, content to sabotage the cracks in the battlefield. War will not end the suffering of the Sarkaz. All I see is you dragging everyone to the abyss. So you choose to run. Many years ago, I said to Theresa the war was unavoidable. If it did not come to Londinium, it would come to Casdel. Theresa agreed, but continued to hope there could be another solution. Her choice led to a new war. Its consequence was the death of the King of Sarkaz. I witnessed her death. All Sarkaz should honor her. And what about you? What can you bring the Sarkaz aside from these meek words? What do you bring, Sarkaz? He points his staff at the ground. The scent of decay rushes out, overpowering the barrier of incantations. Growl. The dirge of the myriad souls grows louder. The power of the incantation is weakening. He feels his fingers, lips, and tongue go numb. The fury does not only come from the ancient Sarkaz sovereign before him, it's also coming from his own blood. I told you. Ducariel, I witnessed with my own eyes my death. You and the king both know that you cannot kill me. With your help, I've come to an interesting place. It's not all nothingness beyond history. But I can continue to gaze at you beyond the veil. You come so far, little Banshee. You and the Outblood King seek the drop of blood that I left behind. The blood of Tikaz, the pure blood that I coveted. You believe you can prevent calamity from occurring again by destroying it. It's true. True, destroy the altar, put a temporary stop to the canal of suffering. Allow the Victorian nitwits to cling to life a little longer. How boring. Who is the short-sighted and foolish here? You feel it, don't you? You're closely linked to the altar, right? Right now, your power is being boosted by it. It was never one drop of blood or a single person's call that awakened the Unnoble of suffering. Originium is the response to the call of all Sarkaz, living and dead, no exceptions. The murmur of the myriad souls is omnipresent. The lament of the dead will not stop. The Sarkaz are bound by the past by the moment of their birth, never to be freed, even into death. You witnessed the myriad souls the first time you sang an elegy. Like Autumnine proudly described her talents to us. This talent is the seed of descent. You feel pain, not just for others, but yourself. You may detest the path I walk, but you could not help but feel the sorrow for me's sake. I feel sorrow for how you're trapped in the past. Such arrogance. I should try to kill you again, but instead I will bless you. The slaughterer and slaughtered, they're all part of the cycle. I'm here because of you. Logos does not smell any blood. The incantation easily impales the Sanguinarch's body, causing only a few small ripples. Your blood is still linked to my elegy. Of course, you stand with me, no matter how much you resist. We are all sovereigns of the Roaring Court, after all, the oldest bloodline of the Sarkaz. I should be glad you could conquer me, for it proves that you are stronger and more worthy of carrying on the fate of Sarkaz, leading them to your path. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm getting real sick of us beating all these bosses only for them to come back stronger than ever. Why are we fighting them if it's not actually... I mean, say what you will about Mandragora, she actually suffered from her defeat at our hands. The Sanguinarch of Vampires laughs, turning around and disappearing to the cave. His silhouette fades away amongst the Originium crystals, but his voice continues to echo in Logos' ear. Bless you, Aphaniel, my vanquisher. Assimilate my blood and utilize my power. Let your hatred of me fuel your battles. You'll walk in my place and witness in my stead how far the flames of Sarkaz vengeance will burn. So was he actually dead and that's just his last echo from the Myriad Souls? Because from my understanding, the Myriad Souls is basically a life stream, the data of them within the Originium, since the Sarkaz were apparently born from it. I refuse. Now you're a vampire, we all hear the same cry. The fate of the Sarkaz is caught in a cycle, and I am no exception. I'm part of what I'm fighting. The fear of the Sarkaz burns with my veins and my viscera. Words turn to fire, descending from the sky to ignite every seed on the earth. Incantation burn at Logos' fingertips, on his lips and his chest. Originium crystals grow furiously around him, and the crying of dead becomes even louder, ready to accept him and devour at any time. He no longer rejects the power in his blood. The vampire has guided the flames of the Sarkaz to him, and he has embraced that fire. The abyss lies before us. We can fill it with flesh and burn the remnants with blood. If only the way to bring this new life is to burn away the decay, and then I'll be both flame and fuel. This is where my blood belongs, and that I have chosen. Don't sacrifice your Logos. I haven't even pulled you yet. I mean, I'm not pulling this banner, but main pool means I could buy you from the shop later. Flames consume the entire canyon. The only thing is left about the incantation the young banshee has written his entire life from a young age. They surround Logos loyally, as sword and shield. If war is the only way to achieve the dream, and new life can only emerge from death, then I shall bring death. I shall welcome it. And I shall ignite my past with blood, not for vengeance, but for the day this fire will burn away what shackles the Sarkaz, through the decay that covers the land. The bone whistle sounds. Logos knows that's merely the echo of the bone whistle in the Valley of Banshees, the night he set out for Babel. From death comes new life. The death knell rings. For the royal court that would rot past and future, and for himself. Oh dear. Alright, we have a fight to do.
Compassion saves no one.
I'm assuming this is mostly scripted, but... Whispers stop. The rot halts.
Show me what you're made of. Amuse me, if you even can.
Yeah, kind of neat how he's spinning his pen animation there. Oh, dang, they're throwing everything at us.
I hear the elegy.
Yeah, he's got his module as well. Good, he's got everything.
It's fine, as long as I can muster up the courage.
Here we go. Logos can only hit so many foes at once. Oh, wow.
Of destiny. Waiting for your call.
It's not my wish to take flight.
As long as I can stay calm.
I've also functionally got a permanent effect here, buddy. Let's make sure this works. I also want to make sure he can heal Logos just to make sure nothing... Oh, yeah, I hate these shield enemies. Unfortunately, it seems that Logos is based on damage dealt and not his raw attack power like like Ratoria. Oh, boy.
Yeah, you'll hear from me as needed.
War. A word I've not heard in a long, long time.
Silver Ash can go here.
When 'tis a choice of life and
I retreated
death,
her saga a little early, but I think we're in good shape. Nashalim, Archer King. His ribbons flutter, his arts fester, and his forecast bring. Here we are, the Najir King himself. All I can do is hope I have enough. However, I could probably at least chip away at him with Yato a bit. Then again, this wasn't marked as a boss fight, so it's possible him and Logos have a scripted battle, more or less. But as you saw, I clearly have to, I cannot take it lightly because there's too many enemies, they'll go past Logos. I really like Thorns and Silver Ash's new skins. I probably shouldn't have bought them with the Sanrio collab so close, but they're just so cool.
Got my bolts, I'm hearing movement.
What are you planning? What are you planning? What are you planning? For what reason hast thou come?
I wasn't sow the mountains when summer leaves the
Yeah,
white dew.
I'll just use
Seed the plains when equinox paints
Shoe here.
russet hue. Engaging.
Point where I'm thrilled at my position. Yeah, not anymore soon.
Yes, Ray can nuke these guys down pretty easily, I'm not worried. Looks like that's it.
I speak.
You push yourself to the limit, burning all the blood in your body to blow your bone whistle just to stop me for a moment. I'll find you. How long can you last when the war continues still? You've gained the Najir's respect, and so I'll now grant you death.
Mission accomplished.
That was cheap. He just warped in a bunch of new enemies. And where'd my operators go? They were specifically there to back up Logos, damn it. Come on, at least get the Niger into Ray's range. I don't care how much of a stat stick is. Ray is specifically designed to obliterate stat sticks. She can take him. No, seriously. With her, I was able to kill the boss of the shoe event without having to worry about his gimmick where you have to multi-hit to weaken him. She just bypassed all of his massive bulk and killed him. It was hilarious. A death knell. A death knell. Logos' bone whistle. A bone whistle? For who? I'm fine, Doctor. I'm just reminded of a lot of things. Logos rarely conducted himself as a Lord of Banshees when we were at Rhodes Island. He said he was no different from a Scout or Misery, just another operator who believed in the ideals. The day we set out, Logos put on his royal court garment. I sensed a great determination in his eyes and great sorrow. I can't help... I do get the whole reason he has his Rhodes Island uniform is to kind of show how he's abandoning his royal court thing. But I have to say, his royal court outfit looks pretty dapper. I wish he had it as a skin or something. The bone whistles crack, the bone pen is broken, blood flows the corner of his lips. You can no longer use witchcraft. You push yourself to the limit, burning all the blood in your body to your bone whistle, just to stop me for a moment. You're a fine warrior. The Nazir King spreads his arms wide, the tattered banners drape over him, rise up, as though echoing through countless wars the Sark has fought. Rotten flesh and blood fall from his wounds new and old, nourishing the battlefield. The new branches spout from the soil, repairing the warriors that have been damaged by the incantations. The fallen Sidarum rise again. But you are not fighting one or a few. There have been no shortage of revolutionaries among the Sarkaz or Royal Court. They've all failed, just as Theresa did. War is a great boulder destined to fall on top of the Sarkaz in the abyss again and again. And you've gained the Nazir's respect, and so I now grant you death. The Nazir walks atop the midst of decay towards the young Banshee. Sever. Banshee utters the final incantation, so soft it's almost inaudible. Cutting words become a tangible blade when he grips his hand and cuts off the Nazir King's arm. Theris' swordcraft. The full blast of the Nazir King power hits Logos in the chest. He falls from the cliff. The ground made of Originium begins to collapse. Logos pictures how a familiar ship treads mountains and rivers, its tracks giving off the same rumbling. He remembers the first time he came to Rhodes Island, stood shoulder to shoulder on the deck with Theresa. She looked out over Casdell while he listened to the wailing in the wind. He remembers Mechanist hunched over, fiddling with parts, chiding Closure for wasting materials, Outcast and Blaze, betting how long it would last, and a robotic arm reaching over to grab his hat. He remembered Ace's bloody palm by his shield and cup. Scout's palm was a little cooler, and the temperature of the crossbow. He could tell them apart by their shaking hands and fiving. He remembers the doctor and Amia saying goodnight in the corridors when Amia suddenly stopped to ask if they were ready to go Londinium. He remembers Dr. Calsa taking Amia's hand and bringing her between them. Theris is gone. Amia is the new leader of Rhodes Island. Logos keeps falling until he's completely submerged in cold water. He remembers himself from many years ago. You've made your decision. Yes, I'll stay at Rhodes Island journey with the ship. Theresa is gone, you know. The dream of Babel lives. Her Highness has named her heir. She's young but carries a familiar fire in our eyes that belongs only to dreamers. It's not just for her I choose to stay. The journey of Her Highness's search hasn't ended, and it should not end like this. I shall continue the journey for as long as the answer to the future of the Sarkaz lies elsewhere. I may not come back to the valley for a very long time. Do you feel sorry because you cannot stay with us? I will not act as a sovereign of the royal court outside the valley. Many will, and many see my will as the will of the royal court. They may she banshees their enemies. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you fend off any storms that come from the valley. If any old friends want to pay a visit, I'll be sure to give them a warm welcome. I will not question the former master of the Valley of Banshees. My sister and I worry for you the same way. Take our thoughts with you. The song of the Banshees surrounds the young lord. The water becomes warm, like a pair of warm hands that pull the fallen back. Logos opens his eyes. He seems to see his mother and everyone else he holds dear. Afanil, the most beautiful wave of the valley, its loveliest song. We must stay and watch you go away, but our blessing will be with you wherever you go. Hang in there, Afanil. We're with you. We've always been with you. The power of the incantation fills Logos to the very ends of his limbs. He opens up his lips again. A song filled with the power of echoes on the river, reflecting the most beautiful wave. All the pursuers are compelled to stop. I never thought I would hear the chorus of banshees here in this distant land. Ever is death accompanied by new life. Are you still trying to sway me with song, young one, here at the end of all things? My patriarch, it's no more than a banshee's incantation. They have not truly joined the battle. Our foe remains only the young banshee. Your injuries are grave. The curse of annual dictates that decay return to decay. I'll not be able to regenerate for some time, but this body will last long enough to see the battle through. For now, let me hear his song, and that of the banshees. Nejalim walks the edge of the cliff without the help of any arts. For an instant, he looks like an ordinary old man. You remember Boldokosti? Yes. You raised him as you would your own son. Such a talented boy. He would become the hero of Kazdel. He was my best student, but he left Kazdel, died to a conspiracy in a distant land. But he died a warrior. He lived the meaning of life through war and returned to the myriad souls upon death. After that, where's the next hero of Kazdel? Nejalim looks off the cliff. Wind passes through the holes in his body that have not healed, creating sounds without meaning. The dirge of the myriad souls has grown softer. Logos' bone whistle has temporarily suppressed the link between the blood of Tikaz and Originium. This is our chance. Doctor, Calus, at this time I won't let it slip from my hands. He falls off a cliff, but is saved by a combat platform imbued with a banshee's will. Huh. Yeah, the new robot's profiles did say that it was made to make Logos not feel lonely while he was away, but I guess I should have realized, of course, this, it wouldn't just be an automation device. It would be a direct link to his mom. They've caught up. Are you here, dear Qui? You and our leader, our dear father, who will be the one to approach the throne? Salus reaches for a drop of blood at the top of the altar. Originium burns and the myriad souls roar. The powerful witchcraft quickly turns her fingers to charred black crystals. I want to see it so badly. The Originium is so near. The origin is so near. You. You've hid well. It took a long time to find you. Far too long. Traitor! How many of you killed on your way here? No more than I killed when I escaped. The underground labs were full of dead back then. Our dead. You've ruined our leader's plans, the Royal Academy of Sciences. The Victorians almost found out about it because of you. I wish you had never succeeded. Ah, that's not what you used to say. How dare you act high and mighty when you were the one who gave us our orders? The cave outside Londinium and all the research bases. Was there any part of that you weren't in charge of? The leader was in Kazdel for most of it. You're the one who directed the research. You looked exactly like the leader with your mask on. I had no choice back then. No choice? What about the things you said when we took us to Londinium and asked to don this mask? We were mere mercenaries. We believed in the Confessori's teachings. We believed in the first and final path that you preached. Our original sin, the sin that outsiders imposed upon us, to be washed away at its coming. Was that all a lie? I wish it was a lie. It wasn't a lie, it was real. All the leader's promises to us were sincere. Same for you, Qui, even you strayed for the path. The leader of the region are so close to victory. The freedom and power that have been lost for thousands of years are about to return to the hands of the Sarkaz. Kill me if you want. Go ahead and see the leader, your father. He's waiting for you at the end of the path. They're all waiting for you. You'll witness it for us. Every life that your sword took. Shiny removes the guard's mask. She remembers that face. One of the first mercenaries the Confessori brought to Londinium. They knew nothing. Were only tasked to excavate the ruins outside the city. The young man had masked his gratitude to her directly, thanked the Confessori for giving them a safe, well-paid job. It was not long before she stopped hearing the words. The leader of the Confessori came to Londinium. There were no more idle mercenaries drinking, playing games. Everyone put on the same mask and did not speak except when necessary. They had no special bloodline, and Qui should not have been able to control their will so easily. But the part of them that belonged to themselves died before the great dreams of the Confessori. It was she who killed them first. This sin has gone on long enough. The mask cracks, the pieces stab Shining's palm. She continues her journey to the top.
Sun's out. What a beauty. Sand beast, let's get home.
I've got a lot of tools in my tool belt, but I do... Oh, nice. Insurmountable. Huh. Medal for that? We're not even... We're only... Secret place. Yeah, that's of course 1423. We're not even halfway through. Oof, but I'm really exhausted. I think now would be a good time to call it, but yeah, I'm probably going to be focusing the chapter 14 down until I finish it, because the sooner it's done, the better, I think. That way, plus the event's ending soon. Plus, hey, I can do more of the silly roguelike mode. Stay away. This isn't too bad. The roguelike modes like this in IS are quite nice additions to the game overall, I think. And I love the theme song for this story chapter. Nice to see all these 100%s. But will I make it to the... Will I live to see the end? Not enough for Slice Shadows. And 99% was a pretty safe bet, I think. Handle emergency. Cleared. Now this is a nice little mode, and the rewards are actually quite nice. I'm guessing they did this because they didn't want to have it from a regular notes like in the previous chapter. Especially since the welfare and upgrades are all from, probably, if I had to guess, they're all going to be at the tail end of the chapter. Well, that was quite enjoyable. But that's going to be all for tonight. Whoops. I'll decide what to buy later. For now, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next time.